Chapter 170 by Yue Jing and Sun Simiao. The collision of the two medical systems. Fish Springtown. After Zhou arrived, he brought the three of them to Zhang Li's new Wind tailor shop. Teacher, Grandmaster, am here? As soon as Bao Xiao arrived at the entrance of the shop, she ran in excitedly with a gift. Zhou and the others looked at each other and smiled before walking in. How old are you? Why are you still acting like a crazy girl? They saw Zhang Li saying dotingly to Bao Xiao as soon as they entered the house. I haven't grown up yet. I'll always be my teacher's girl. Bao Xiao giggled. Oh yes. The Lord and the two big shots in Blazing Sun City came with me this time. She came back to her senses and said quickly. Teacher Zhang, we're sorry to disturb you. Zhou said with a smile when he entered. My lord, what are you saying? Let's go into the courtyard first. Xiao, take the lord and the others to rest first. I'll close the shop first, then come back. Zhang Li immediately stood up and said. Bao Xiao nodded and led Zhou and the other two into the courtyard. They sat down in a room and quickly served local specialties. Soon, Zhang Li came back. This senior is the deputy commander of our Blazing Sun City's Blazing Sun Legion, Legion Commander Wuxia. He is also the previous great general of the Aurora Kingdom. Bao Xiao introduced Wuxia and Bai Yuejing to her teacher. I've heard of Old Master Wu's name for a long time. I've finally seen you in person today. Zhang Li said respectfully. She had heard of Wu Xin's name before he became a subject of the Aurora Kingdom. As for the reason why this big shot would follow his lord, she was not very surprised. This was because there had been rumors in Fish Spring Town recently that many retired big shots of the Aurora Kingdom had joined Blazing Sun City, including Wuxia. Therefore, she only confirmed it now. Wuxia smiled and nodded. As for this elderly gentleman, he's also very impressive. This surname is Bai. Before he retired, he was an imperial doctor of the Aurora Kingdom and the vice president of the Aurora Kingdom Physician Association. The main reason why we're here this time is to let Elder Bai take a look at Grandmaster's condition and see if there's any way to treat her. Bao Xiao nodded and introduced Bai Yuejing seriously. After hearing her disciple's introduction, Zhang Li, who had always been calm, immediately stood up and looked at Bai Yuejing excitedly. Can you really save my teacher? She could not help but say excitedly. Calm down. I can only make a judgment after seeing your master. Bai Yuejing did not guarantee anything. Even though he was a diamond-tier intermediate-grade doctor, there were always all kinds of illnesses in the world. No doctor dared to guarantee that they could cure others without seeing the patient. Sorry. I was too anxious. Zhang Li calmed down when she heard this, but she looked at Bai Yuejing with anticipation. Since we're at this point, let's go see elderly now. Zhou said. It's getting dark. My lord, you're already very tired from rushing here. Why don't we have a meal and rest before going to see my teacher? Teacher's condition is still relatively stable at the moment. It won't matter if it takes a while. Zhang Li was a little embarrassed. The patient is the most important. We can't delay it. We'd better go now. Bai Yuejing shook his head. Since the other party had already said so, the others had no objections. Seeing this, Zhang Li led everyone to Li Huiyu's room. Zhou asked everyone to be quiet after arriving at elder Li Huiyu's room. Then he saw Bai Yuejing walk forward alone. He sat in front of Li Huiyu and placed his hand above her heart. Wisps of gentle energy that emitted a pale, white light surged out of his body and entered Li Huiyu's heart. Bai Yuejing closed his eyes. He began to sense Li Huiyu's condition. The treatment system of the human doctors on the high continent was very different from that of the Cerulean planet. As doctors were a type of professionals, they naturally grasped the extraordinary tier professional power that belonged solely to doctors. So the normal way they treat patients was, he would fuse the doctor's extraordinary tier energy in his body into the patient's heart and blood. Then he would let the heart push the blood to circulate the doctor's extraordinary tier energy throughout the patient's body. He would use this method to sense the situation in the patient's entire body. The higher the level of the doctor, the more he could understand the patient's condition through this method. It could even heal patients through the extraordinary tear energy of doctors. At this moment, Bai Yuejing used this method. A moment later, Bai Yuejing opened her eyes and frowned deeply. Did your master once do something that lasted for a long time without sleep or food? He looked at Zhang Li and asked. Zhang Li's eyes were blank. Then, she seemed to have thought of something and nodded with uncertainty. That seemed to have happened. Back when I was living separately from teacher, she was looking for all kinds of high-level textile materials. She seemed to want to make a relatively high-grade costume. Teacher was already like this when I saw her again, she replied. Bai Yuejing nodded. Then he shook his head. An equipment that can make an extraordinary tear tailor exhaust most of the blood essence and potential in her body should be an epic tear equipment. Zhou and the others were shocked. Exhausted most of the blood essence and potential in her body just to build an epic tear equipment. Bao Xiaoer's grandmaster was an extraordinary tear tailor. Many speculations immediately popped up in their minds. Is there a way to cure my teacher? Zhang Li could not help but ask. It's very difficult. The function of her internal organs is close to zero. Most of her essence blood has also been used up. Even her potential has fallen to the white platinum tier. Honestly, I think it's a miracle that she's still alive. Bai Yuejing shook his head. As a diamond tier intermediate grade imperial doctor, he had seen countless patients since he was young. But even so, he had rarely seen someone like Li Huiyue who looked alive but was actually close to death. Zhang Li's face turned pale. Bai Yuejing was about to comfort him. At this moment, don't give up. There's still a chance of survival. A serious and old voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Bai Yuejing was stunned. Then he reacted. This was a notification from the great doctor of the Imperial Ancestral Temple, the author of the essential prescriptions worth 1,000 gold for emergencies. How can I treat her? He immediately asked in his heart. The patient's internal organs are exhausted, her potential is decreasing, her life is about to end. Ordinary life-saving methods are no longer useful. The most important thing now is to restore the patient's physique and spirit to a normal state. Then, restore her potential and use a great tonic to restore her vitality. In the end, the patient can be cured through recuperation and the self-healing method of the life form's potential. I'll explain. Take note. 3 liters of ginger juice, 2 liters of charred tiger bones, 5 liters of 1,000-year-old ginseng, 10 liters of appendix. Bai Yuejing was about to record it, but he immediately looked confused when he heard this. Sun Simiao seemed to have thought of something, and his voice stopped abruptly. Then he smiled. I was confused. I forgot that your side is an alternate world. Then let me put it another way. If you have any thoughts, you can communicate with me at any time. 2 liters of white silver-tear medicinal herb, blood mulberry wood core, 1 liter of white silver-tear medicinal herb, orchid spirit grass, 5 pieces of white silver-tear medicinal herb, 3 spirit water leaf, 3 green bronze-tear medicinal herb, 6-eyed ghost flowers. Finally, give the patient a bottle of extraordinary tear potential advancement potion. The potential of your world is extraordinary. It would not be inferior to divine-level medicine if used well. Thank you for your guidance. I've benefited a lot, Bai Yuejing said in shock. He already knew the treatment idea through the prescription provided by Sun Simiao. The collision and intersection of the 2 medical systems gave him inspiration. He even felt like he was seeing the path of an extraordinary tear doctor. At this moment, Bai Yuejing was even more grateful to the Lord for handing the essential prescriptions worth 1,000 gold for emergencies to him for safekeeping. This was almost equivalent to a huge opportunity for him. At this moment, Sun Simiao's voice was no longer in his mind. Seeing this, Bai Yuejing came in front of Zhou and told him about his conversation with Sun Simiao. Zhou was a little surprised. Then he agreed to his request for an extraordinary tear potential advancement potion without hesitation. Saving people was more important now. Moreover, every living lord of all races still had 1 bottle of extraordinary tear potential advancement potion rewarded when they became an official lord other than the ones that had been used. He had used up all his extraordinary tear potential advancement potion? then he would just snatch it again. Zhou did not feel guilty at all about doing something like that to the enemy. Chapter 171 Peace and Prosperity Achievement accomplished. Lord Talent that can advance. Bai Yuejing looked at Zhongli, who was already in a daze after he reached an agreement with Zhou. Don't panic. A great doctor just told me how to heal your teacher. Your teacher should be fine if we just follow the treatment. Bai Yuejing smiled. When Zhongli heard this, her expression immediately turned from sorrow to joy as she looked at Bai Yuejing excitedly. Really? She asked in disbelief. Bai Yuejing nodded. If the effect is good, your teacher might even retain her extraordinary tear tailoring skills. Zhongli and Bao Xiuer were pleasantly surprised. Thank you, Divine Doctor, for saving her life. Thank you, Elder Bives. The two of them said excitedly. Don't thank me. If you want to thank someone, thank the Lord and that great doctor. Especially the Lord. The Lord gave up a bottle of extraordinary tear potential advancement potion in order to treat your teacher. Bai Yuejing shook his head. An extraordinary tear potential advancement potion. One could imagine how precious such a potion was to humans with potential. He was only testing his lord just now. He did not expect his lord to really agree. He sighed in his heart. Only a great lord like his lord could give up such a precious treasure without hesitation for someone he had never even spoken to. Thinking of this, he felt even more acutely that joining Blazing Sun City and becoming a subject under the Lord was the right choice. At the same time, a line of golden text appeared in front of Zhou. Your subject Bai Yuejing's loyalty has increased to 100. He has become your dead loyal subject. He winced. Then he smiled. Thank you, my lord, for saving my teacher's life. From now on, Zhongli's life belongs to the Lord. When Zhongli heard Bai Yuejing's words, she was both shocked and touched. She came in front of Zhou and said without hesitation. As soon as he finished speaking, a new text notification appeared in front of Zhou. Prompt. Zhongli, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade Tailor, has volunteered to become your official subject. Your subject Zhongli's loyalty has increased to 100. She has become your dead loyal subject. Peace and Prosperity Lord Talent Notification. There are already 1,000 subjects with 90 loyalty points and above in your territory. Prompt. There are changes to your Lord Talent, Peace and Prosperity, Diamond Tier Lord Talent. Please check in time. Zhou was stunned. Changes to Peace and Prosperity. He immediately opened the Lord Talent information of Peace and Prosperity. Lord Talent, Peace and Prosperity, Diamond Tier. Peace and Prosperity, same as before. Specific Talent Effect 1, same as before. Specific Talent Effect 2, same as before. Specific Talent Effect 3, same as before. Specific Talent Effect 4, your territory is famous. Many life forms know that your territory is a territory of peace and prosperity, slightly increasing the probability of foreign life forms coming to seek refuge. Specific Talent Effect 5. When the number of subjects with loyalty of 90 points and above in the territory reaches 1 million, peace and prosperity will advance to the extraordinary tier Lord Talent, Peaceful Times. Current number of people, 1000/10000000. Zhou looked at its new talent information in surprise. The current peace and prosperity had given his territory a good reputation. It had also slightly increased the probability of foreign life forms coming to join him. Moreover, it could actually advance. This was the first time Zhou had seen a Lord Talent that could advance on its own without the need for the Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystal. However, the requirements for advancement were ridiculously high. It was actually a requirement for the loyalty of 1 million subjects. Zhou estimated that his total number of subjects had already reached tens of millions or even hundreds of millions if he really met this requirement. Thinking of this, he decided not to think any more about it. This advancement requirement was not something he should be worried about for the time being. He could take things slowly. It would be achieved sooner or later, as long as he, the Lord, was still alive. At that time, he would directly obtain an extraordinary tier lord talent. Teacher Zhang, you're too kind. After Zhou Zhou came back to his senses, he helped Zhongli up and smiled. Every dead, loyal subject were all people he could nurture. They were his real working team in Zhou Zhou's eyes. Elder Bai, can we bring Teacher Li Huiwe back to the territory safely with our current conditions?
Zhou Zhou asked.
Bai Yuejing immediately understood what Zhou Zhou meant. He could only in the territory treat and nourish Li Hui's body every day. At the same time, he could obtain the medicinal herbs needed for treatment at any time.
Sure.
It'll nourish her body now and stabilize the situation in her body. Then I can bring her back to the territory for treatment. Bai Yuejing said. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Then he looked at Zhang Li. Teacher Zhang, please pack up too. Then come back to Blazing Sun City with us later. This will also make it easier to treat your teacher,
he said.
Yes, my lord. Li Huiwe immediately agreed respectfully. After that, Zhou Zhou asked Bao Xiu'er to stay to help while he and Wu Xian walked out of the New Wind tailor shop and walked towards the Adventure Association. Today, he received news from the Adventure Association, Haru's, telling him that the Advanced Conqueror's blast furnace had been sent over. Since they had already arrived at Fish Spring Town, they could go over and take a look. A moment later, in the warehouse of the Adventure Association, Lord of the Blazing Sun, this is the gold-tier advanced grade Conqueror's blast furnace that Haru specially bought from the capital through the connections of the Adventure Association's higher-ups. This is already the highest-level Conqueror's blast furnace that our Adventure Association can buy. It can extract 10,000 corpses per hour at full power. I hope it can satisfy your needs, my lord. Also, the Adventure Association's higher-ups greet the esteemed Lord of the Blazing Sun. Haru said respectfully. You're too kind. In the future, I will definitely visit the higher-ups of the adventurers and thank them in person for their help. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Then, he looked at the Conqueror's blast furnace in front of him. This was a Conqueror's blast furnace that was 15 to 16 meters tall. There were a total of 6 ladders around it, and 6 loots assembly lines at the bottom, specially used to give out loots. Alchemy Technology Product. Conqueror's blast furnace. Grade, yellow gold tier advanced grade. Product effect. Put a yellow gold tier mist core in the energy slot and activate it with the energy in your body. The Conqueror's blast furnace can begin to retrieve the loots by burning them. Duration, 24 hours. Product description, an alchemy technology product from the Gnome Kingdom. It is extremely useful when dealing with large numbers of monster corpses. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. This yellow gold tier advanced grade Conqueror's blast furnace not only greatly increased the efficiency of extracting loots every hour, but one yellow gold tier mist core could provide a full 24 hours of work. It was simply incomparable to the previous green bronze tier elementary grade Conqueror's blast furnace. In the future, his army would be able to save a lot of time when extracting loots. I'll buy it. How many mist cores for one? How many do you have in total?
Zhou Zhou asked.
The price of a yellow gold tier advanced grade Conqueror's blast furnace is about 10 yellow gold tier mist cores. I brought a total of 10 yellow gold tier advanced grade Conqueror's blast furnaces from the capital this time. Lord of the Blazing Sun, how many do you want? Haru asked respectfully. I want them all. Zhou Zhou said directly. He took out 100 yellow gold tier mist cores from his spatial ring and handed them to the other party. Haru clicked his tongue and took the yellow gold tier mist cores with a smile. Then, he eagerly went to take the remaining 9 yellow gold tier advanced grade Conqueror's blast furnaces. A moment later, Zhou Zhou obtained 10 yellow gold tier advanced grade Conqueror's blast furnaces. Zhou Zhou and Wu Xian did not stay any longer after telling Haru to pay attention to more high-level Conqueror's blast furnaces for him in the future. They left the Adventure Association, hearing Haru's respectful voice. When the two of them returned to the New Wind tailor shop, they realized that Elder Bai had stabilized Li Hui's situation while Zhang Li had also packed up. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou did not waste any time. He led everyone out of Fish Spring Town and boarded Nazario's back in the suburbs before returning to Blazing Sun City. They had just returned when Zhou Zhou saw an unexpected person. They were Lu Rui and the others from the Starfire mercenary team. At this moment, their strength had already increased greatly, and their equipment had already been changed to be moving on up. Everyone was in high spirits. They were no longer the novice adventurers they had when they first met. "Greetings, my lord." After seeing Zhou Zhou return, Lu Rui and the others immediately came over and said respectfully, "Why are you suddenly back?" Zhou Zhou nodded and asked, "Reporting to my lord, we just found some information about the Sandstorm Forbidden Land, so we specially came to report to you." Lu Rui said respectfully, "Let's go back to my residence." Zhou Zhou immediately said,
"Yes."
Lu Rui and company nodded and followed Zhou Zhou towards the lord's residence. Chapter 172 Mysterious Force of the Sandstorm Forbidden Land. Maid Sisters. In the living room of the lord's residence, Zhou Zhou, Lu Rui, and Zhang Lanxing were seated. As for the other members of the Starfire mercenary team, they were temporarily assigned to other rooms because there were too many of them. "Tell me about the information you obtained about the Sandstorm Forbidden Land." Zhou Zhou went straight to the point with Lu Rui. "Yes, my lord." Lu Rui said respectfully. "We started investigating immediately when we got back. At first, we didn't find anything. Later on, we specially issued a bounty quest to investigate the Sandstorm Forbidden Land in the Adventure Association. Only then did we know some internal information. The person who provided the information is the nephew of the vice president of our Adventure Association. He's also a white silver-tier elementary grade adventurer now. According to him, the Sandstorm Forbidden Land is not a restricted area. It's said that the danger of the Sandstorm Forbidden Land was not so great when the Sandstorm Forbidden Land first appeared a long time ago. The experts of the Adventure Association and the kingdom once organized a powerful team and entered the Sandstorm Forbidden Land. The average strength of this team is above the yellow gold tier. At that time, their strength was already the best in the vicinity. In the beginning, this team could still maintain communication with the outside world after entering the Sandstorm Forbidden Land. However, the communication of this team completely disappeared after only a day and night. Only 2 days later did a member of the Adventure Association escape from the Sandstorm Forbidden Land. This member of the Adventure Association is the vice president of the Adventure Association that I mentioned just now. He told the people at that time that the Sandstorm Forbidden Land was not a no-man's land. In the deepest part of this place is a kingdom of the undead formed by hatred and loneliness. That place is xenophobic and refuses any life form from the outside world to come to them. The others were killed by the undead army there. He only barely survived with the special treasures he brought from the Adventure Association. Later on, it was said that the people of the kingdom specially sent a stronger team to explore the Sandstorm Forbidden Land after they found out about this. There was even a hero in the team. However, they realized that there was only an endless sandstorm in the Sandstorm Forbidden Land when they arrived. They didn't see the other entrances and undead at all. In the end, this matter could only be left unsettled. It also became one of the unsolved mysteries of the Aurora Kingdom. Lu Rui said. Zhou Zhou frowned slightly. A kingdom of the undead filled with resentment and loneliness? My territory actually borders such a mysterious force? Is the information reliable?
Zhou Zhou asked.
It should be reliable. There are still missions to retrieve the bones and relics of the ancestors of the Sandstorm Forbidden Land in the Adventure Association until now. Such missions are classified as extraordinary tier advanced grade quests among all the Adventure Association missions, even though no adventurer has completed it yet. But it's still there. It should be because the relatives and friends of the deceased are unwilling, or because the other factions are unwilling to give up the secrets of the Sandstorm Forbidden Land. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. He thought for a while, and suddenly had an idea. If this faction really existed, and no one else could enter, then could the mysterious caravan with the supreme blessing, unlimited rite of passage, enter? Zhou Zhou thought about it, and felt that he could give it a try. With Zheng Fuguwei and the others' capabilities, even if they really could not enter, it would definitely not be a problem for them to protect themselves. He came back to his senses and looked at Lu Rui. You guys did well this time. Go and get your military merits from Elder Zheng tomorrow. In addition, it'll give you some rewards as development resources for your Starfire mercenary team as your lord. Zhou waved his right hand. 500 white silver tier mist cores, 500 soldier type class change certificates, and 500 sand corpse summoner class change certificates appeared in front of the two of them. Take these rewards and develop yourselves and the Starfire mercenary team well. In the future, if you encounter any valuable information, you can send it to Blazing Sun City. I'll personally take a look at the important information. I will give you more rewards if I think the information is good. You have to increase your strength yourself. Otherwise, I won't be able to give you any good rewards. Zhou said. Most of Lu Rui and the others were only at the green bronze tier. Giving them the silver tier mist core was already the limit. Otherwise, it would be wasting something on them that they could not use. It was not bad for them to advance to the green bronze tier in such a short period of time, but Zhou naturally hoped that they would become stronger. When Lu Rui and Zhang Lanqing heard that, they were immediately ashamed and excited. They obtained 500 white silver tier mist cores and a total of 1,000 precious class change certificates with a wave. Zhou felt restricted when giving them rewards because their strength was too low. How rich must he be to say such a thing? When they heard Zhou's words, they even felt that he was worried because he did not know how to spend the mist cores in his hand. Zhou was indeed worried. He had too many mist cores in his hands now. Selling a portion of the gains from the monster ranches every day in his territory could bring him tens of millions of black iron tier mist cores. It made him even richer when coupled with the loots and other gains from the daily battles, under the influence of the perfect loots. Therefore, he wanted to spend some mist core to try everything he saw. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to do anything with the mist cores in his hands. Then why would he keep them? Spending them was the key. However, even though he had a lot of mist cores, he would not spend them recklessly. Being rich and being stupid were two different concepts. After that, Zhou chatted with the two of them for a while more before asking them to leave. Before he left, he asked the two of them to call Zheng Fugui over. He had already seen the mysterious caravan's carriage return when he returned. Zheng Fugui and the others should have completed today's transaction and returned. A moment later, Zheng Fugui came in front of Zhou. Greetings, my lord, he said respectfully. How was your business today? Zhou asked casually. Everything went well, Zheng Fugui said with a smile. Zhou acknowledged. That made sense. Who dared to stand in the way of the mysterious caravan? After that, he told Zheng Fugui everything that Lu Rui said. I'll bring the caravan to the Sandstorm Forbidden Land to explore tomorrow. Zheng Fugui immediately said respectfully. Zhou nodded slightly. Oh yes, the commercial trade in Sand Gold City is already on the right track. In the future, you can also try to collect some information as your transaction content other than normal transactions, he said. Yes, my lord, Zheng Fugui said respectfully. He did feel that there were fewer and fewer people looking for them to carry goods for trade in the past 2 days. On one hand, it was because of the rise of Sand Gold City and the appearance of the business path. On the other hand, it was also because other caravans had appeared in the territory and were snatching business from them. These new caravans were formed spontaneously by the subjects of Blazing Sun City and Sand Gold City when they saw the hidden business opportunities on the business path. Zheng Fugui and the others did not care about such a small business to begin with. Now that someone was doing it for them and the Lord had new instructions, they were naturally willing to give up this small cake to them to eat. Zhou was deep in thought. He now had a total of 3 channels of information. The first was naturally Wu Tu's reconnaissance team. The second was Lu Rui's Starfire mercenary team. The third was the mysterious caravan led by Zheng Fugui. Wu Tu was in charge of the basic map information, Lu Rui was in charge of the network information, and Zheng Fugui and the others were in charge of obtaining high-end information. The 3 of them each had their own intelligence field and would almost never clash with each other. Instead, they could complement each other. Now, I've built my basic intelligence network, but it's still in its infancy. It can supplement development in the future, Zhou thought. After that, Zheng Fugui left the lord's residence. After a while, reporting to my lord, Aliyah and Atli request an audience. The voices of the Catgirl sisters came from outside. Come in. Zhou was stunned before saying. Soon, the Catgirl sisters arrived in front of Zhou. Reporting to my lord. We're here to serve you, Aliyah said seriously. Zhou, their choice of words is very normal, but why did it sound so wrong to me? Could it be that I'm not healthy anymore? There are guest rooms in the mansion. You two find your own rooms. He came back to his senses and said, Yes, my lord. The Catgirl sisters said respectfully. Aliyah was still relatively calm while Atli was clearly more excited. The two of them went out for a while and returned quickly. My lord, we've tidied up our room, Atli said excitedly. Zhou nodded and took a sip of water. He looked up at the two of them and almost vomited the water he had just drunk. What's wrong with your clothes? He looked at their clothes and was dumbfounded. At this moment, the Catgirl sisters were actually wearing black and white-made clothes. They wore white headdresses and trembling cat ears, and an apron decorated with flounces, and a white-collared plain dress. Under the dress were white stockings, coupled with their young and lively appearance and unique Catman race characteristics. They looked cute, delicate, and sexy. Their eyes were blank. This outfit is normal maid work attire. Since we're here to be the Lord's maidservant, of course we have to wear formal work clothes to look professional. This is what Legion Commander Bai told us. Legion Commander Bai even said that we have to do our best to satisfy you if you have any other special needs. Aliyah said seriously. Atli also looked at Zhou curiously. Does my lord have any special needs? She asked expectantly. Zhou, Bai Yun, what kind of ideas are you instilling in them? Well, not at the moment. Take a seat first. Zhou was silent for a moment, not knowing what to ask the two of them to do. The two of them sat beside Zhou. Then, Zhou felt even more uncomfortable. Damn it. Is this how my evil lord life is going to begin? Reporting to my lord, Wu Tu requests an audience. Wu Tu's voice came from outside at this moment. Let him in, Zhou immediately said.
Yes.
Aliyah nodded and walked out of the room. Soon, she brought Wu Tu to Zhou. The young man looked at the Aliyah sisters in a daze. Then, he looked at Zhou in admiration and relief. Zhou, don't misunderstand me. I'm innocent. My lord, I brought new map information. Wu Tu's expression quickly returned back to normal. In his impression, it was normal for a big shot like the lord to have maids serving him. It was already a little late for him to have maids to take care of him. However, it was no big deal. Then, he took out a large map and several small maps from his pocket and handed them to Zhou respectfully. Zhou took it and looked at it. Chapter 173, Heavenly Army. Lingers anticipation. Zhou looked at Wu Tu's large map first. This large map was not much different from the original. However, in the east of the Blackrock Desert and the Silent Wasteland, he had discovered 3 more white silver-tier regional territories. The remaining map areas were all under the Aurora Kingdom's territory. Zhou was naturally not interested in that place. Currently, only 1 black iron-tier regional territory and 2 green bronze-tier regional territories around the Sandstorm Forbidden Land are left. However, these 3 regional territories are all bordered by a natural disaster forbidden area like the Sandstorm Forbidden Land. It's hard to conquer them. Unless Zheng Fugui and the others can investigate the background of the Sandstorm Forbidden Land. Zhou frowned slightly. Then, he looked at the map for a few seconds. Finally, his gaze landed on the 3 white silver-tier regional territories that he had just discovered. It's time to try conquering the white silver-tier regional territory. Coincidentally, my territory hasn't been upgraded in a long time, Zhou thought. He looked at the remaining 3 small maps. These 3 small maps were the specific areas of the 3 white silver-tier regions that had just been explored. Zhou took a look. The Scarlet Lords who discovered these 3 white silver tier territories were all yellow gold tier Scarlet Lords. Now, Nazario is already a white silver tier advanced grade. It shouldn't be a problem to deal with a yellow gold tier Scarlet Lord, he thought. As for the monster subjects under the Scarlet Lord, he would recruit some soldiers through the monster ranches the next day. He should be able to deal with them by then. Thinking of this, Zhou felt a little relieved. He had yet to really face the monsters of a white silver tier regional territory, but now, in comparison, the difference in strength did not seem to be too great. Thinking of this, Zhou put away the maps. Then, he looked at Wu Tuesday. He thought for a few seconds and said to him, "Wu Tuesday, you've been with me for a while. I'm prepared to expand the reconnaissance team under your command. Expand the reconnaissance team to the Heavenly Painting Army. It's in charge of exploring unknown territory on the High Continent. At the same time, it'll be the vanguard for the army of Blazing Sun City,"
he said.
Wu Tu's eyes lit up. "I won't let you down, my lord," he said excitedly and respectfully. Zhou acknowledged. "Tomorrow, go find Bai Yun and ask her to approve 450 soldiers for you. Including your original 50 reconnaissance team, form 500 soldiers of the Heavenly 2 Army as the first batch of soldiers. In the future, we need to explore the scope of the conquest. The scale of your Heavenly 2 Army will also increase. Yes. One more thing. In the next 2 days, the territory will produce white silver tier elementary grade mechanostriders. These mechanostriders will be provided to the Heavenly Army first. Remember to update in time," Zhou said. "Thank you, Lord." Wu Tu became even more excited. The mechanostrider had always been an important tool for them to explore the map. If it could be upgraded, then the efficiency of their Heavenly 2 Army's exploration of regional territories would definitely increase greatly in the future. This was naturally important to them. I wonder what a white silver tier elementary grade mechanostrider will look like. He was filled with anticipation. Zhou could tell what Wu Tu was thinking at a glance. He could not help but smile. He wondered what expression he would have when he saw the flying mechanostrider. After that, he chatted with Wu Tu for a while more before Wu Tu bade farewell and left. Seeing this, Zhou opened the marketplace to check on the purchase of materials for the mechanical flying claw, mechanostrider, and biological prosthesis. In the end, he realized that he had bought a total of 4,540 sets of materials for the Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Mechanical Flying Claw, 2,101 sets of materials for the White Silver Tier Advanced Grade Mechanostrider, and 1,520 sets of materials for the White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade Biological Prosthesis. A total of 45,400 Black Iron Tier Mist Cores and 22,665 White Silver Tier Mist Cores were spent. After Zhou received the materials, he went straight to the Gnome Alchemy Workshop and handed them to Ivan Rowley and the other 2 alchemy technicians. "I'll leave the task of creating these alchemy technologies to you in the future. If you don't have enough manpower, you can hire some assistants or directly take in some disciples," Zhou said. "Yes, my lord," Ivan Rowley and the other 2 said respectfully. Zhou acknowledged. Then, he returned to the lord's residence. In the residence, Zhou thought for a moment and took out 3 territory rebirth tokens. These 3 were automatically sent to each lord by the supreme will when the lord battlefield first opened. Because he had won all 3 battles and directly reached the green bronze tier elementary grade lord rank, these 3 territory rebirth tokens were not used at all. Zhou had just taken out the 3 black iron tier territory rebirth tokens. A text notification immediately appeared. "You have been promoted to the green bronze tier elementary grade lord. You have a chance to upgrade the unused black iron tier territory rebirth token to the green bronze tier territory rebirth token for free. Do you want to upgrade it immediately? Can it even do that?" Zhou raised his eyebrows. He thought that these 3 black iron tier territory rebirth tokens were useless. It turned out that he could upgrade them for free. "Then when I advance to the white silver tier lord rank, or even the yellow gold tier lord rank, Will these low-level territory rebirth tokens also advance? Zhou asked tentatively. As soon as he finished speaking, the text notification appeared again. Lord Battlefield hint. Every time a Lord's Lord Battlefield level increases, the low-level territory rebirth token and resurrection token that were not used before will have a chance to be upgraded for free. Zhou was deep in thought. If he won more battles than he lost, wouldn't he be able to freeload a batch of high-level territory rebirth tokens and territory resurrection tokens in the end? In that case, when I have extra territory tokens, I can use them to exchange for these territory rebirth tokens and resurrection tokens. Then keep them for free upgrades, Zhou thought. Then he put away the territory resurrection tokens. Is there anything I haven't done? Zhou began to think.
Soon.
He remembered. Zhou opened his friend list and opened Linger's chat. Then, he sent the treasure information of the Master Servant Territory contract and finally began to type. Lord of the Blazing Sun, Linger, are you willing to sign this Master Servant Territory contract with me? Spiritual Medicine City. Linger looked at the information of the Master Servant Territory contract, and her gaze quickly landed on the content of the treasure effect too. A spatial teleportation array will appear in both territories. Then I will be able to look for my brother. Linger's eyes lit up. When she saw Zhou's question, she agreed without hesitation. As for the master and servant, Linger did not care at all. She had never had the heart to fight for supremacy. Naturally, she did not care about this arrangement. This could be seen from the fact that she had the legendary tier lord talent, but only wanted to provide Zhou with herbs. In the Blazing Sun City, Zhou could not help but smile when he saw Linger's answer. Chapter 170, for signing the Master Servant Contract. Conditions to build a kingdom. Zhou sighed. Linger agreed so quickly that it was beyond his expectations. But it had to be said, he liked the feeling of being trusted and entrusted. Lord of the Blazing Sun, what level is your territory at now? Spiritual Medicine Lord, Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. Originally, I planned to advance to a Green Bronze Tier Elementary Grade territory after collecting enough territory tokens. Now, it seems like it's just right. Hehe. Lord of the Blazing Sun. Okay, I'll use the contract later. Spiritual Medicine Lord, Big Brother, if the spatial teleportation array appears, can I look for you tomorrow? Lord of the Blazing Sun. Sure. You're my little sister. You can come over anytime. Even now. Spiritual Medicine Lord. Yes. Spiritual Medicine Lord. It's a little late today. It'll disturb your rest if I go. Lord of the Blazing Sun. It's all right. The two of them chatted for a while. Then, Zhou took out the Master Servant Territory contract. A text notification appeared. Do you want to use it? Yes. Zhou said in a low voice. Please choose the lord you want to sign the Master Servant Territory contract with. Spiritual Medicine City's Spiritual Medicine Lord. Request has been sent to the Spiritual Medicine City Spiritual Medicine Lord to sign the Master Servant Territory contract. Please wait patiently. Zhou waited.
Soon.
The text notification appeared again. Spiritual Medicine City. The Spiritual Medicine Lord has agreed to your Master Servant Territory contract request and has officially become your subordinate territory. You have activated the Special Territory Information Column, Subordinate Territory Column. A new subordinate territory has been added to your subordinate territory column, Spiritual Medicine City. You have the sovereignty of Spiritual Medicine City. The Lord of Spiritual Medicine City and her subjects cannot go against your orders as the Lord of the main territory. At the same time, as the Lord of the main territory, you have to bear the responsibility of protecting your subordinate territory. Your territory has added a special building, Spatial Teleportation Array, White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. You can choose to share the effect of your Lord talent with your subordinate territory. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. At this moment, Linger sent another message. Spiritual Medicine Lord, Brother, I'll get someone to find the Spatial Teleportation Array now. I'll go see you tomorrow. Lord of the Blazing Sun, all right. Then the two of them chatted for a while more. After agreeing to the timing tomorrow, they bade each other good night and went offline. After that, Zhou asked Aaliyah to get someone to find the location of the spatial teleportation array in the territory. A moment later, "My lord, I found the spatial teleportation array," Aaliyah said respectfully when she returned. "Let's go take a look." Zhou stood up and said. Aaliyah nodded respectfully and led Zhou out of the lord's residence. After walking for more than 10 minutes, they arrived near the city gate. They had just arrived when Zhou saw a white array that emitted a distorted space covering the ground. This array was a total of 30,000 to 40,000 square meters. It was about the size of a football field. It was engraved with a large number of complicated and strange patterns. Beside it were some patrolling guards. They were the ones who had found this spatial teleportation array. "My lord, this should be the spatial teleportation array you mentioned," Aaliyah said. Zhou acknowledged. Then he walked over. "Greetings, my lord." Seeing Zhou come over, these soldiers who were in charge of guarding the spatial teleportation array and not letting others approach immediately said respectfully, "Good work." Zhou acknowledged. Then he looked at the array.
Soon,
Its detailed information appeared in front of him. Formation name, Spatial Teleportation Array, Master. Formation level, White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. Formation Effect 1. Put 10 white silver tier mist cores on the spatial teleportation and you can teleport up to 1,000 living units and 1,000 units of supplies to the other lords who have signed the Master Servant Territory contract. Formation Effect 2. As the spatial teleportation array of the main territory, you can unilaterally open and close this spatial teleportation array, Master. You can also control the opening and closing of the spatial teleportation array in the subordinate territory from afar. Formation Upgrade Requirement. Upgrade as the territory upgrades. Formation Description. An exclusive formation created by the Master Servant Territory contract. It can only be used in the 2 territories that have signed the Master Servant Territory contract. Zhou nodded slightly. This array formation was not bad. This way, if anything happened to Linger in the future, he could rush over to help immediately. At the same time, Linger would not have to personally handle the medicinal herbs she sent him in the future. She could just hand them over to the professionals in both territories and do it face-to-face through the spatial teleportation array. After that, Zhou did not stay any longer and returned to the Lord's residence to rest. As for sharing the Lord's talent, he would wait for Linger to come. Zhou was naturally not stingy in this aspect. He and Linger had already signed a master-slave territory contract after all. From a certain perspective, Linger's legendary tier lord talent, the Divine Herb Garden, already belonged to him. The next morning, Zhou woke up early. Then, 2 rows of text immediately appeared in front of him. You have automatically obtained 1 ranking. Automatically increases by 1 every day. Current remaining rankings, 22. Zhou took a look and retracted his gaze. He opened the world channel and took a look. Many lords were also chatting. I can finally rank again. God bless me. Let me return to Black Iron tier from -1. Is anyone willing to form a team? I have many doctors in my territory and need a strong brother. There are many beauties in this pretty girl's territory. I guarantee that you won't be disappointed as long as you're strong. Can I watch? Shy. I have more long-range soldiers in my territory. A lord with strong offensive. Let's form a team. Professional substitute leveling. You will definitely be able to win. Are you still worried about not being able to rank? Are you still anxious about your future as a lord? We are not asking for 1,998 or 998, just 500 Black Iron tier mist cores, and you can bring home the Lord rank +1. You can even get a 20% discount if you buy it many times. The corners of Zhou's mouth twitched. It had only been 2 days. Why did even substitute leveling appear? It could also be seen that no one was willing to fight alone now. Teaming up had become the choice of many lords. I wonder how points are counted if you team up during the ranking competitions? Zhou was a little curious. However, he did not think too much about it. He would know when he and Linger teamed up. After that, he got up. Just as he walked out of the room, he saw the Aliyah sisters holding a set of clean clothes. "Good morning, my lord," X2 Aliyah said respectfully. Atli was more excited. After the two of them finished speaking, they carried the clothes to him. "My lord, we've already prepared your toiletries and clothes. Let us change the lord's clothes first." They were about to move. Zhou hurriedly stopped them. No need. I'd better do this myself,"
he said.
"My lord, I know you might not be used to such a life. But it's okay. Just take it slow. Big shots are like that," Aliyah said seriously. "How am I a big shot?" Zhou muttered. He was only a lord who had just left the novice village. What kind of big shot was he? Aliyah and the others did not think so. Then, under their insistence, Zhou had no choice but to put on his clothes and wash up with their help. What an evil lord's life. After walking out of the lord's residence, he looked at the inseparable cat girl maids behind him.
Zhou sighed again.
Then, he was about to walk towards the gate of summoning and prepare to summon his subjects today, when he saw Liya and her maid, Wuxia, standing not far away and smiling at him. "Good morning, my lord." Liya smiled. "Good morning." Zhou was a little embarrassed. Then he went to a serious topic. He looked at the two of them and said, "Are the two of you returning to the Aurora Kingdom?" "MHM. The Diamond Tier Elementary Aurora Tower is very important. I have to go back and report it to my father as soon as possible. However, we'll go and return quickly through the spatial teleportation array this time. Perhaps we'll be able to meet the Lord again tonight." Liya smiled. Zhou acknowledged. He was not surprised that the other party also had a spatial teleportation array. It would be strange if a dignified kingdom did not even master the technology to build spatial teleportation arrays. At this moment, Liya walked over, within a few steps away from Zhou. "My lord, do you know how a lord builds a kingdom?" she asked seriously. Chapter 175 3 Conditions. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Archaeologist. "I don't know." Zhou was stunned for a moment before shaking his head. "There are 3 conditions to build a kingdom, and you can only build a kingdom after all 3 conditions are met." Liya raised her finger. "The first and most important condition is to have an extraordinary tier advanced grade treasure, Kingdom Token. The Kingdom Token is an indispensable item for building a kingdom. It's like a territory token to a territory. It's the most important foundation of a kingdom. The second condition is, the Lord has at least 30 regional territories, and at least one of them has to be an extraordinary tier regional territory to be the capital of the kingdom. The third condition is for there to be at least 3 heroes in the kingdom who can protect the kingdom. Not only does the minimum requirement for these 3 heroes be extraordinary tier heroes, but there must be at least 1 hero among them who belongs to the Lord's own race. As long as the Lord fulfills these 3 conditions, you can build your own kingdom," Liya said solemnly. Zhou's body trembled. He suddenly felt enlightened. Liya's words directly pointed out the direction of his future Lord path. Then he frowned. He could not fulfill any of these 3 requests now. He had never heard of the extraordinary tier advanced grade treasure, Kingdom Token. To have 30 regional territories, and for one of which was an extraordinary tier regional territory. He was even further on this front. He only had 3 black iron tier regional territories and 2 green bronze tier regional territories in total. He was already feeling the difficulty of conquering a white silver tier regional territory, not to mention an extraordinary tier 1. He was the closest to fulfilling the third condition currently. 3 heroes with the lowest fate level of extraordinary tier heroes. Moreover, there was at least 1 hero from the same race as the Lord. Zhou now had Bai Yi and Wuxia. Of these 2, one of them had an epic tier hero's fate level while the other had an extraordinary tier hero's fate level. Moreover, they were all humans. He could satisfy the third condition as long as he could have another extraordinary tier hero. It's still a little far away, but at least there's a direction to work towards. Zhou's eyes lit up. Then he looked at Leah. Thank you, Your Highness, for telling me the conditions for establishing the kingdom. These things are important to me, Zhou said seriously. It's not a big secret. My lord will find out sooner or later with your ability. Leah smiled. Zhou smiled and said nothing. After that, the two of them chatted for a while before Leah suggested that they set off. When Zhou heard this, he sent him to the city gate. My lord, send them here. I'll see you soon, Leah said. Zhou acknowledged. Leah nodded and left with her maid, Wuxia. After walking for a while, Your Highness, not far ahead is the one-time spatial teleportation array we just set up. You can directly go to the capital through that spatial teleportation array or return at any time. Don't worry, we'll protect this spatial teleportation array. A low voice suddenly sounded in Leah's ear. Leah did not say anything and only nodded lightly. An invisible might spread out as she exuded the noble aura of a princess at that moment. Your Highness, is it good to tell him the conditions to build a kingdom so early? Wouldn't it make him bite off more than he can chew? Wuxia could not help but ask. When a person's vision is limited to a small territory, his future achievements will only be limited to a small territory. When a person sets his sights on the entire world, his future achievements won't be too small even if he can't dominate the entire world. It's fine to give this lord some ambitious goals. Maybe he'll surprise us in the future? Leah smiled. While she knew that the goal she had set for the other party was a little too far. However, when she thought of Zhou's ordinary actions and the achievements he already had, Leah had a feeling. This person would eventually become extraordinary in the future. She shook her head and stopped thinking about it. Leah and the maid, Wuxia, quickly arrived at the spatial teleportation array. Then, they disappeared in a spatial fluctuation. The surroundings fell silent. Gazes from the dark would shoot over and observe their surroundings vigilantly from time to time. Then they calmed down. In Blazing Sun City, after Zhou returned, he went straight to the Gate of Summoning. A text notification appeared. Prompt. Do you want to summon immediately? Yes, Zhou said. The next second, the Gate of Summoning suddenly lit up with a bright white light, and new subjects walked out one after another. A moment later, all 189 new subjects walked out of the Gate of Summoning. Greetings, my lord, X-189. The 189 new subjects said respectfully. From today onwards, you are the subjects of Blazing Sun City, Zhou said. Then, he asked all the professionals to stand up and realized that he had summoned a total of 18 military professionals this time. Zhou checked their interface information. A moment later, the inspection was completed. Among these 18 military professionals, there was a white silver tier elementary grade chef, a white silver tier elementary grade archaeologist, and a white silver tier elementary grade archer. In addition, there was one green bronze tier advanced grade farmer, 2 green bronze tier intermediate grade carpenters, 2 green bronze tier elementary grade doctors, 2 black iron tier advanced grade pharmacists, 3 black iron tier intermediate grade sword shield soldiers, 3 black iron tier elementary grade cartographers, and 5 black iron tier elementary grade chefs. Archaeologist? Zhou's eyebrows twitched. This was the first time he got to know about this profession. He looked at him. The other party was an old man in his 70s or 80s. His hair and beard were all white, but he was hale and hearty. His eyes were bright, and he did not look like an old man at all. Zhou curiously opened the other party's attribute panel. Subject, Gu Bo. Territory, Blazing Sun City. Life profession, archaeologist. Profession class, white silver tier elementary grade. Ability overview, Dr. Gu Bo, who grew up listening to the wild history of the gods from the Chaos era, had long determined to devote himself to the archaeology industry. After growing up and learning many archaeological skills, he mastered a lot of archaeology knowledge. He once joined the Time Society, but later on he automatically resigned from the Time Society because he was old and weak. Skills, talent, Eye of Time, white silver tier elementary grade mysterious history, white silver tier elementary grade netherworld history, White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Heaven Realm History. Secrets Beyond the White Silver Tier Elementary Grade World. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Mysterious Event History. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Archaeological Practice. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Ancient Netherworld Empire Language. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Original Elf Language. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Sand Emperor Language. Loyalty 85. Potential. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Zhou raised his eyebrows. He opened all of the other party's skills column. In the end, he realized that there were more than 200 skills. They were all archaeological related. Zhou clicked his tongue. This old man's skill panel was so luxurious. It was even more ridiculous than Bai Yi, Wuxia, and Zhao Chengsha's skill reserves. Is this really a subject that the Gate of Summoning could summon? If one did not look at his professional class, Zhou would have even suspected that this was a talent attracted by the reputation rating. Chapter 170. 6 Talent, Eye of Time. Soldier Advancement. Zhou looked at his skill list. Talent, Eye of Time? What talent is this? Zhou opened the specific information of this talent curiously. Talent, Eye of Time. Creatures with this talent have a special ability given to them by the River of Time. There is a certain chance of seeing some traces of time left on ancient things when observing them. My good lord, this can no longer be called talent. This must be a superpower, right? Zhou clicked his tongue. He had many talented subjects under his command. For example, Wu Tu's photographic memories, Carter Kim's metal affinity. These innate abilities were at least within the range of common sense that normal people could understand. However, just looking at the contents of Gu Bo's talent was unbelievable. He felt that his talent was at least a few levels higher than the others. In the end, Zhou could only sigh. The world was so big that there were all kinds of strange things. Then he looked at the other skills. In the end, he unexpectedly saw the skill. White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade Sand Emperor Language. Dr. Gu, what's the relationship between the Sand Emperor and the Emperor of Sand? Zhou was stunned for a moment before immediately asking. Gu Bo was stunned. Then, he explained, the Sand Emperor language is the official language of the Sand Empire. The Emperor of Sand was the only emperor of the Sand Empire. Can you tell me about the Sand Empire and the Emperor of Sand later? Zhou said in surprise. He had finally found someone who knew about the Emperor of Sand. My lord, you don't have to be so polite. Of course you can. It's my honor to serve my lord. Gu Bo smiled. Zhou acknowledged. Then, he called Zheng Yuanqi over and asked him to arrange where these people would go. After which, he walked to the side with Gu Bo and began to listen to him. The Emperor of Sand existed more than 8,000 years ago. In that era, it led the Sandman tribe and rose from the weak within a very short period of time. In less than 800 years, it developed into a famous empire on the high continent. Unfortunately, it only existed for a very short period of time. In less than 300 years, the Sand Empire was destroyed because it seemed like it had angered the gods. Otherwise, perhaps the land under our feet will still be the territory of the Sand Empire. After the fall of the Sand Empire, our land experienced 4 more kingdoms. The last kingdom is the Aurora Kingdom, which is now bordering the Lord's territory. Zhou was deep in thought. According to what he understood from the Emperor of Sand's spatial ring, the Emperor of Sand fell with its empire because he wanted to replace the sun. It was in line with what Dr. Gu had said from the looks of it. He suddenly felt tempted. Did that mean that the inheritance of the Emperor of Sand that he had always wanted was actually the inheritance of an empire's monarch? Moreover, he already had some clues. I must continue searching for this inheritance of the Emperor of Sand. Zhou immediately thought with excitement. This was the inheritance of the Emperor of an empire. It was not inferior to a legendary tier lord talent. He naturally would not let it go so easily. After that, he called all the soldiers and spent more than half an hour cleaning up the time ruins and the monster ranch. Then, He took out the yellow gold tier advanced grade Conqueror blast furnace he had obtained yesterday and placed a yellow gold tier mist core on the energy slot. Finally, he used the energy in his body to activate this alchemy technology product. Then, the soldiers began to transport the corpses to the Conqueror's blast furnace and retrieve the loot. Half an hour later, all the loots had been extracted. Under the effect of the perfect loots, other than the +1 quality monster flesh, skill books, potion formulas, poison sacks, black scorpion poison crossbow, flame demon fogwolf set, and other items, he obtained a total of 41,251 green bronze tier mist cores, 14,275 white silver tier mist cores, and 1,614 yellow gold tier mist cores, 6,388 class change certificates, 2,145 Sandcorp Summoner class change certificates, 1,128 Sword Shield Soldier recruitment books, 1,002 Pudeo Soldiers recruitment books, 958 Poison Crossbow Soldier recruitment books, 384 Elemental Archer recruitment books, 5,021 kilograms of light drawing crystal. Zhou asked Aaliyah to call Zhao Changshu over and handed the light drawing crystal to Zhao Changshu and the others. Elder Zhao, starting today, the city wall of Blazing Sun City has to be expanded every time the territory upgrades. We're fighting the foreign race lords every day now. The city walls are the most important part of the city's defense. It must be strengthened in time,
Zhou said.
He had yet to encounter a foreign race lord who could attack his city wall, but there was no harm in making early preparations.
Yes.
From today onwards, I will recruit people and begin to expand the city wall. However, my lord, recently, we have been a little lacking in the basic materials in the city. We need to replenish, Zhao Changshu said respectfully. Leave it to me, Zhou acknowledged. He had indeed not bought basic materials in the exchange for a long time. During this period of time, the basic materials used were all from the previous stock, be it for building buildings or other matters in his territory. It was indeed time to buy another batch of basic materials. Actually, he could also send people to buy basic materials in reality instead of buying them in the exchange. However, the price of basic materials in reality was higher than the exchange. Secondly, it was inconvenient to buy them. Moreover, they had to transport them back and forth and waste time. Therefore, Zhou had never thought of doing so. After that, he opened the exchange and looked at the price of the basic materials. He realized that one black iron tier mist core could be exchanged for 50 units of basic materials. The price is acceptable. Then he'll buy more at once. Zhou thought for a moment. The basic materials needed to build the city wall were quite large. If he brought more, he would not need to buy it again in a short period of time. Then he began to set up a deal. Trade name, deal with the Blazing Sun Lord. Trade goods, 8 million black iron tier mist cores. Trade requirement, trade 1 black iron tier mist core for every 50 units of basic materials. The setup was completed, and he published the transaction. Then he set up a new transaction. He threw in all the soldier class change certificates he had just obtained, as well as excess materials, skill books, equipment, and other items. Then he directly announced the transaction. A moment later, the purchase of materials was completed first. Zhou looked at the transaction results. Trade results: 100 million units of stone, 100 million units of wood, 100 million units of metal, 100 million units of fine sand. Zhou nodded. Then, he brought Zhao Changshu to an empty space and took out all 400 million units of basic materials and piled them into 4 small mountains of basic materials that were more than 20 meters tall. These basic materials should be enough for the time being, right? Zhou smiled. It's indeed enough. Zhao Changshu clicked his tongue as he looked at the 4 small mountains. He had seen the same scene before when he was in the Aurora Kingdom. However, he had not seen many scenes like the Lord's where he could wave his hand and create 4 small mountains of basic materials. At this moment, Bai Yun walked over after counting the number of soldiers who had advanced. I've something to report, my lord. A total of 5,132 people advanced just now. 3,125 of them have been promoted to Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade and Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. 1,941 people advanced from Black Iron Tier to Green Bronze Tier. Another 72 people have advanced to the White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. There are a total of 12,122 Black Iron Tier soldiers in our army, 2,583 Green Bronze Tier soldiers, 98 White Silver Tier. In addition, I've already broken through to the White Silver Tier Advanced Grade. Maris has also broken through to Green Bronze Tier Advanced Grade. Bai Yun said respectfully. Zhou Zhou could not help but click his tongue. Chapter 177 Divine Herb Garden. Sharing Talents. Zhou Zhou sighed. Yesterday, only 1,164 people had broken through. Today, it directly increased to 5,132 breakthroughs. While this was because the number of military professionals had increased by more than 3,000, the credit for this was naturally mainly because of the blessing of the 10 gods. The blessing of the war god had advanced from Green Bronze Tier to White Silver Tier. This talent directly increased the promotion energy obtained by the soldiers by 5 times when they killed each monster after all. Then he sensed Nazario's situation and realized that it was not far from the Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade. It would probably be able to break through after killing another 12,000 monsters. As for himself, he was about to break through to the White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade. I have to upgrade this Lord talent in the future. Zhou Zhou was even more certain of his choice. As for Insight Defection, I'm sorry, I'm afraid that the blessing of the war god will misunderstand. At this moment, a line of text appeared in front of him, telling him that his deal was complete. Zhou Zhou opened the marketplace and looked at the transaction results. Trade result: 18,649,982 Black Iron Tier Mist Cores. More and more mist cores are being spent. Zhou Zhou sighed. After that, he went to the golem lair as usual and summoned 126 golems, and then he went to the gate of summoning and threw in all the recruitment books he had just obtained. Soon, recruits walked out of the gate of summoning one after another and stood neatly behind him. A moment later, 1,128 sword shield soldiers, 1,002 Pudeo soldiers, 958 poison crossbow soldiers, 384 elemental archers, and 12 elemental bowmen appeared behind him. I have a total of 20,864 soldiers under my command now, including the newly recruited golems. Zhou Zhou was very satisfied. He had finally had 20,000 military professionals. Then, he let the soldiers rest for a while and prepare for the upcoming Lord Battlefield battle. A moment later, a new message appeared in his friend list. Zhou Zhou opened it. It was Linger. Spiritual Medicine Lord. Big brother, can I come over now? Lord of the Blazing Sun, come over. Spiritual Medicine Lord, okay. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou walked towards the spatial teleportation array with Bai Yi and the Aaliyah Catgirl sisters. He saw a little girl in a white dress and a female military professional standing together when they arrived at the spatial teleportation array. Linger. Zhou Zhou came in front of her and smiled. Big brother. Linger looked at Zhou Zhou, and her eyes lit up. Big brother, you're so handsome. Her eyes lit up. And this is... Zhou Zhou smiled and looked at the female soldier beside her. Her name is Feng Xiaoya. She's the most powerful person in our spiritual medicine city. She currently commands all the military professionals in our spiritual medicine city. Sister Feng didn't walk out of the gate of summoning. She escaped from the war elsewhere and joined my territory because she encountered it. Linger giggled. Clearly, she was very proud to be able to receive a subject like Feng Xiaoya. Greetings, my lord. Feng Xiaoya said respectfully. She was secretly shocked. The 3 people beside this lord gave her a very powerful feeling, no matter who they were. Especially the female general in red armor with a blood-red bow on her back. It gave her a sense of oppression as if she was meeting an extraordinary tier creature. Who is she? Why do I feel so much pressure? She thought in shock. Originally, she thought that she was already very powerful at this age. However, she suddenly lost all her arrogance now that she looked at the female general in front of her. Zhou acknowledged. He also looked at her interface information. As the other party was a subject of his subordinate territory, he, the lord of the main territory, could also see her interface information directly. Then he saw that she was actually an white silver-tier elementary-grade spearman. Zhou was a little surprised. With Linger's territory level, she was indeed quite lucky to be able to recruit such a military professional. Big brother, are we going to rank now? I've already asked the soldiers to prepare in the territory. They can enter the ranked competition at any time. Linger said, there's no hurry. I want to take a look at your divine herb garden first. I've been curious about it for a long time. Zhou smiled. Okay, then should we go take a look now? Linger asked. Zhou acknowledged. Linger did not say anything else when she saw this. Then, everyone arrived at the spatial teleportation array. Then, Zhou filled 10 white silver-tier mist cores into the medium-sized slot of the array formation. With a thought, a text notification appeared. Do you want to consume 0.3% of the array's energy to head to the subordinate territory, Spiritual Medicine City? Yes, Zhou thought to himself. The next second, a spatial fluctuation visible to the naked eye appeared on the array. Then, everyone's bodies twisted for a second before they disappeared collectively. As for the 10 white silver-tier mist cores, they only dimmed slightly. Spiritual Medicine City. Spatial teleportation array. A spatial distortion appeared. Then, Zhou, Linger, and the others appeared out of thin air on the array formation. Big brother, we've arrived at the Spiritual Medicine City. Linger said. Zhou acknowledged. He looked around. The buildings here were similar to his Blazing Sun City. However, it was much smaller in terms of scale and quantity, especially the wall. The wall of the Spiritual Medicine City was only 7 to 8 meters tall. It was far inferior to the light elemental city wall of Blazing Sun City. In the future, he had to let Linger pay more attention to the construction of the city defense. Zhou thought. However, he had to say this in private. It would save Linger from losing face in front of her subordinates. Then, he did not say anything and followed Linger to where her soldiers were. There were already more than 1,500 military professionals in the Spiritual Medicine City. It was far inferior to the number of military professionals in Zhou's territory, but it was already not bad among the human lords of the Cerulean planet. In the end, they came to the Divine Herb Garden. Big brother, this is the Divine Herb Garden. Linger introduced the building in front of her. Zhou nodded slightly as he looked at the building in front of him. This was a building that looked very much like a church. It was completely wholly white, and the surface of the building was engraved with a large number of statues of god spirits. Right above them was a black sun. A black sun. Zhou was stunned. It seems to be a divine symbol that gives the Divine Herb Garden special abilities. I'm not too sure either. The Lord Talent didn't introduce this. Linger did not understand either. Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. The one who gave the medicine life is actually the god spirit of the Black Sun? He didn't think too much about it. Then, he followed Linger into the Divine Herb Garden. Zhou could smell the strong fragrance of medicinal herbs and some special smells as soon as he entered. These smells seemed to be the source of life. After taking a breath or two, Zhou felt his spirit rejuvenate, as if he had endless energy to vent. Then, he saw all kinds of medicinal herbs planted in the medicinal field. There were so many of them, and had no end to it at a glance. There were medicinal herbs to make the life potion, energy potion, blood eye potion, and potential advancement potion. There were all kinds of familiar medicinal herbs. Zhou was very familiar with most of the herbs. This was because he had asked Linger to nurture them. Zhou had never seen the remaining medicinal herbs before. They should have been nurtured by Linger. How big is this Divine Herb Garden? Zhou asked curiously. It was only 50 acres at first. after my territory was upgraded to Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. It's 200 acres now, Linger said obediently. Zhou clicked his tongue. The area could be expanded? It had an area of 200 acres when it's only at Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade? Then what would happen in the future? As expected of a legendary tier Lord talent. In the past, he had thought that even though Linger's legendary tier Divine Herb Garden was very strong, it should not be comparable to his 100% drop rate. However, looking at the increase in the area, Zhou suddenly felt that it was really not certain whose Lord talent was stronger when these two talents were put together. It was naturally incomparable now. After all, his Lord talent had already advanced to the mythical tier. Zhou was both surprised and happy upon seeing it. In the future, his territory could also directly enjoy the legendary tier Lord talent of the Divine Herb Garden. While this talent still belonged to Linger, it was no different from being his. Then, Zhou looked at Linger and thought about which Lord talent he should share with her. This was because he could only share one Lord talent, so he had to think carefully about it. A moment later, Zhou decided to share the white silver tier blessing of the 10 gods, the blessing of the war god, with Linger. This Lord talent was relatively low level, but it was the talent that could directly increase the strength of the territory. With it, Linger would also have the strength to protect her Divine Herb Garden and could also walk further on the path of a lord. Zhou could also send people to protect her and her territory, but it was better to teach someone to fish than to give them the fishes. Zhou still felt that it was better to let Linger grow up on her own. Moreover, he would continue to upgrade this talent in the future. Therefore, he did not think he was treating Linger badly. On the other side, Linger was still immersed in the joy of being with Zhou. She still felt like she was in a dream. At this moment, a line of golden text appeared in front of her. The Lord of the main territory has shared a white silver tier Lord talent, blessing of the 10 gods, blessing of the war god with you. You can check the specific information of this Lord talent. Linger was immediately stunned. Chapter 178 Begin Formation. Old opponent. We can actually share Lord talents? Linger's mouth widened slightly. Her mouth opened even wider when she opened the shared Lord talent and saw the specific ability of the Lord talent. The first thought that immediately appeared in her mind. What a powerful Lord talent. Her second thought was, is this why my big brother is so strong? Do you see the shared Lord talent? Zhou asked when he saw her expression. Yes, I saw it. Big brother. What a coincidence. This Lord talent is what my territory needs the most. Linger said happily. She might be young, but it did not mean that she did not understand the development of the territory. Linger knew very well that even though she had a huge advantage in accelerating the cultivation of medicinal herbs, at the same time her territory's shortcoming in combat strength was also very obvious. Her territory's strength was already considered not bad among the many human lords of the Cerulean planet since she had been recruiting refugees from other places, coupled with the soldier-type class change certificate she obtained from Zhou. However, this was not enough to protect her legendary tier Lord talent. A slightly stronger lord might be able to take down her territory. Her territory's combat strength would develop rapidly in the future with the Lord talent shared by Zhou. While it could not compare to Lord talents with top-notch combat strength, it was enough to protect her territory at least, as long as she did not take the initiative to provoke them. Therefore, she was very surprised. This is nothing compared to your legendary tier Lord talent. But don't worry. This Lord talent will become stronger in the future. Zhou smiled mysteriously. Linger blinked. She did not quite understand what Zhou meant. Why would the Lord talent become stronger? However, she obediently did not ask further, seeing that Zhou did not seem to want to explain. After that, Zhou and Linger returned to Blazing Sun City. Then, he invited Linger to start ranking together. Just as he clicked on the ranking, a line of text appeared. Lord Battlefield hint. Due to the current stage, the level of the Lord's territory is generally low, so you can obtain higher-level territory tokens. In order to facilitate the completion of the basic objective of the event, exchange for goods from a higher-level battlefield shop, all lords above the green bronze tier do not need to use the territory token to exchange for goods in the battlefield shop. Instead, they can use battlefield points to exchange for them. Battlefield points can be obtained by selling any level of territory token or defeating your opponent in the ranking of the lords. Your battlefield shop has been updated. Zhou was stunned. Then he understood and nodded slightly. This could indeed help them exchange for goods from the advanced battlefield shop easier. He opened the battlefield shop and looked at it. 100 designated black iron tier elementary grade military professionals. Remaining purchases 10. Price 5 battlefield points. 10 designated green bronze tier basic lifestyle professionals. Remaining purchases 10. Price 5 battlefield points. 3. Green bronze tier resurrection token, exclusive to the Lord battlefield. Remaining purchases 10. Price 5 battlefield points. 4. Green bronze tier territory rebirth token, exclusive to the Lord battlefield. Remaining purchases 10. Price 15 battlefield points. 5. Bronze tier +1. Remaining purchases 1. Price 25 battlefield points. 6. Gate of Summoning Reset card. Remaining purchases 10. Price 1 battlefield point. Seeing this, Zhou exchanged the remaining 2 green bronze tier territory tokens and 3 black iron tier territory tokens with his battlefield points. 1 black iron tier territory token gave him 1 battlefield point, and 1 green bronze tier territory token could obtain 5 battlefield points. After selling them all, he obtained a total of 13 battlefield points. Then he clicked on the match and began to rank. A text notification appeared. Matching with your ranking opponent. Match successful. Entering the battlefield. The next second, Zhou and Linger's bodies suddenly turned illusory before quickly disappearing. They found themselves on an ancient battlefield when they could see their surroundings clearly again. There were many corpses from various races on this battlefield. They seemed to have been dead for a long time. Even though there were many corpses on the battlefield, there was only a faint smell of decay. At this moment, Zhou was standing on the city wall and looking into the distance. He saw 2 almost identical blood-colored castles to the east and southeast of him. However, one occupied a larger area, while the other was smaller. At this moment, a text notification appeared. You have entered the green bronze tier elementary grade battlefield. You and your opponent have been randomly assigned to the green bronze tier elementary grade battlefield, Plains of Death. Your opponents are 1. Vampire Lord, Lord Anderson, green bronze tier elementary grade. 2. Vampire Lord, Lord Turner, black iron tier intermediate grade. Condition to defeat the enemy. Kill all the enemy forces within 24 hours. If you exceed the time limit, both sides will be judged to have negative battle results. Ranking -1. You have 10 minutes to deploy your forces. Countdown, 9 minutes, 59 seconds. Special hint 1. Since you have chosen to party up, you have been assigned a Lord team that has the same number of people as your team. Special hint 2. You will obtain as many battlefield points as you kill the enemy Lord in a party up. Special hint 3. You and your Lord teammates can communicate telepathically on the Lord battlefield regardless of distance. Vampire Lords? Old rivals. Zhou was a little surprised. Then, he could not help but raise his eyebrows when he saw Special Hint 2. Wouldn't that mean that he could obtain more battlefield points than in a solo match? Then he and Linger were really the right team. No, there should be another person since a group could at most rank 3 people together. In a 3v3 ranking, each of them could obtain more battlefield points as long as they won. He thought for a moment, but he did not expect anyone to join in. Suddenly, "Big brother, can you hear me?" Linger's uneasy voice sounded in his mind. "I can hear you." Zhou immediately replied in his mind. "Big brother, it's good that you're here." Linger's tone instantly relaxed hearing Zhou's reply. Zhou looked around. Soon, he saw the spiritual medicine city in the distance on the left. "Big brother, the other party is a vampire lord. What should we do next?" Big brother, tell me. I'll listen to you. Linger said. She had already thought about it before coming. Her main purpose for this ranking was to listen to Zhou command the entire time and not cause trouble. Leave the troops guarding the city and deploy the remaining military professionals. After the battle begins, just get your military professionals to follow behind my Blazing Sun army and kill them. Zhou thought for a moment and said. Since he chose to rank Linger with him, he had never thought of letting her lead him to winning. He told her to stand at the back and not cause trouble. She could just wait for him to lead the victory. Okay. Linger agreed immediately and began to deploy her troops. Zhou also began to deploy his troops seeing this. He left 5,864 military professionals in the territory to defend the city. Then, he summoned the remaining 15,000 military professionals as well as Bai Yun, Wuxia, Nazario, Maris, and other high-end combatants. Then, these people began to set up defenses on the city wall. During this period, Zhou saw many bloodbats fly out of the enemy's territory, circling above the Blazing Sun City and Spiritual Medicine City. Zhou knew that the other party was using the bloodbat form to investigate them. Humph. Get lost. He looked at these bloodbats who were observing them fearlessly and suddenly snorted. The next second, the pressure from the vampire Viscount bloodline instantly erupted from his body and landed on the bloodbats in the blink of an eye. Fear immediately appeared in their eyes when these bloodbats felt the pressure from this bloodline. They wanted to escape. However, under the suppression of the higher-level vampire bloodline, they could not even escape. They directly exploded into large balls of blood mist in midair. At the same time, in the territory of Lord Anderson and Lord Turner. At this moment, the two vampire lords were using the low-level vampires they had created and using the bloodbat form to observe the situation in the other party's human lord territory. At this moment, these low-level vampires suddenly revealed fear in their eyes. Right on the heels of that, their bodies instantly exploded into countless blood mists accompanied by a bang. This scene immediately stunned Lord Anderson and Lord Turner. Chapter 179 Rapid Promotion. White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade. What's going on? Did the other party use some curse spell? Lord Turner said stupidly. He was the Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade Lord who brought Lord Anderson here. Their situation was similar to Zhou and Linger's. They both brought one more lord with them, allowing the other party to advance more easily. However, these two vampires were in an employer-employee relationship. Lord Turner had spent a lot of money to hire Anderson, a green bronze tier elementary grade lord, to help him advance. Can't you tell? This is caused by the level suppression between our vampire bloodlines. That human lord is not simple. There should be a vampire viscount like me. Anderson's expression was a little gloomy. He had thought that it would not be a problem to pass the lord battlefield with a Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade Lord, but did not expect to encounter such a tough opponent. Then what should we do?
Turner asked in a panic.
Don't worry. Am I not still a vampire viscount just because he is? I'll use the pressure of my Viscount bloodline to fight him so that he won't have time to deal with you when the battle starts later, and he uses his Viscount bloodline to suppress our low-level vampires. At that time, use your bloodbat form to fly past the city walls of these two human lords and enter their city. Come back and help me after you break through the other party's territory in the city, Anderson said. He also had the bloodline of a vampire viscount, so he was not afraid of Zhou's bloodline pressure. As for Turner, he was an ordinary vampire baron. Turner immediately nodded. A moment later, not long after both sides deployed their forces, a text notification appeared. Deployment time has ended. The Lord War has begun. The next second, Zhou saw more than 20,000 bloodbats flying out of the other party's territory. They were like blood clouds that covered the sky. It flew towards Blazing Sun City and Spiritual Medicine City with an astonishing aura and pressure. Zhou took a rough look. With the ability of the vampire Viscount bloodline, he realized that most of the 20,000 bloodbats were formed by low-level vampires. Only a small number of them were transformed by the vampire baron after using the bloodbat form. Seeing this, he was about to use the bloodline pressure of the vampire viscount to attack these bloodbats. At this moment, he suddenly felt the same vampire viscount bloodline appear out of thin air and block the pressure of his bloodline. Zhou raised his eyebrows. He likes to resist pressure? With a thought. At this moment, Nazario, who was resting with its eyes closed in the territory, suddenly opened its eyes. Roar! A dragon roar sounded, accompanied by the extremely terrifying dragon might. Anderson, who was releasing the pressure of the vampire viscount's bloodline, rolled his eyes and fainted. My lord, what's wrong? When the other vampire subordinates saw their lord faint, they immediately surrounded him in panic. All long-range soldiers, kill these bloodbats with all your might. Maris, it's your turn, Bai Yun ordered. As soon as she finished speaking, more than 7,000 archers, crossbowmen, poison crossbowmen, and elemental archers drew their bows and shot at the bloodbats. Maris' soul also emerged from its body. It held the god of death's scythe and charged at the bloodbats. It was already at green bronze tier advanced grade. This meant that he could instantly kill all living beings below the white silver tier. Even if it was a white silver tier bloodbat, it was very likely to kill it as long as it attacked a few more times. More than 95% of these 20,000 bloodbats were below the white silver tier, which meant if Maris was given enough time, it could even deal with all 20,000 bloodbats without being injured by itself. Moreover, while another soldier type might not be able to tell which of these bloodbats hid the true souls of the vampires, Maris, as a divine kingdom-level soldier type, the Soul Reaper, it was naturally extremely sensitive to souls and could easily sense the location of the souls in these bloodbats. Therefore, it began to kill these bloodbats and was able to deliver accurate kills, which was extremely efficient. In less than a moment, under the joint battle of Maris and all the ranged soldiers, all the bloodbats were killed. More than 8,000 sword shield soldiers and other melee professions broke into the cities of the two vampire lords and killed the two vampire lords and the remaining vampires. A text notification appeared. You and your teammates have defeated the vampire lord, Anderson, green bronze tier elementary grade, and the vampire lord, Turner, black iron tier intermediate grade. You have won this ranking competition. You have obtained 6 battlefield points. Congratulations, you have advanced to green bronze tier intermediate grade in the Lord battlefield of all races. You need to participate in at least one ranking competition every 3 days. Otherwise, your rank will -1. Your battlefield shop has been updated. You can return to your territory. Zhou nodded slightly. While the opponents this time were much stronger than his previous opponents, they were not much stronger. On the other hand, Linger felt like she was dreaming. How can my big brother deal with such a strong vampire lord with such ease? Wasn't this win too easy? She had not forgotten the spectacular scene of more than 20,000 bloodbats flying out. It looked so scary, yet they were killed by my brother like paper? Linger clicked her tongue. My big brother seems to be too ridiculously strong. At this moment. Do you still have ranking tries left? Zhou's voice sounded in her mind. Yes, there are 3 more times. My territory just took down the regional territory of my area last night. Linger hurriedly said.
All right.
Get your soldiers to rest for a while. Let's continue ranking later.
Zhou said.
A moment later. Zhou and Linger activated the ranking competition again. 2 hours later. After ending the last ranking and returning to the territory, Zhou opened the Lord battlefield and looked at the Lord rank displayed in the upper left corner. Title: Lord of the Blazing Sun. Rank: White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade. Number of rankings: 18 battlefield points. 89. As for Linger's Lord rank, it had also increased from Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade to Green Bronze Tier Advanced Grade. Big brother, I don't have any more ranking tries. Linger was a little embarrassed. Then attack some more Scarlet Lord's territories or Foreign Race Lord's territories. Let's rank together again when you have more.
Zhou said.
Linger immediately agreed. With the blessing of the 10 gods, the blessing of the war god, she also had a higher passion for going out to fight. After Linger left, Zhou was not in a hurry to find someone else to rank. Instead, he opened the battlefield shop and checked the new goods. Chapter 180 Title Upgrade. Fashion Upgrade. Zhou looked at the white silver tier intermediate grade lord shop. 1. Cerulean Planet Human Race Building, Triumphal Arch Architecture Blueprint Fragment, 2/7. Remaining purchases 1. Price 50 battlefield points. 2. Index of All Races, Book 2. Remaining purchases 1. Price 5 battlefield points. 3. Index of All Races, Book 3. Remaining purchases 1. Price 25 battlefield points. 4. 100 designated white silver tier elementary grade military professionals. Remaining purchases 10. Price 25 battlefield points. 5. 10 designated white silver tier basic lifestyle professionals. Remaining purchases 10. Price 25 battlefield points. 6. White silver tier resurrection token exclusive to the Lord battlefield. Remaining purchases 10. Price 25 battlefield points. 7. White silver tier territory rebirth token exclusive to the Lord battlefield. Remaining purchases 10. Price 25 battlefield points. 8. White silver tier +1. Remaining purchases 1. Price 500 battlefield points. 9. 1 green bronze tier master servant territory contract. Remaining purchases 1. Price 20 battlefield points. 10. Gate of Summoning reset card. Remaining purchases 10. Price 1 battlefield point. Zhou's eyes lit up. The goods in this white silver tier battlefield shop were already enough for him to take seriously. For example, the 100 white silver tier elementary grade military professionals. It made him quite envious. There were only 98 white silver tier military professionals left in his Blazing Sun army other than Bai Yun and the other high-end combatants, even though he had developed so much. And now, he only needed 25 battlefield points to exchange for a total of 100 powerful white silver tier combatants in the battlefield shop. How could he not be tempted? However, Zhou finally suppressed the urge to buy it immediately after looking at it for a while. Instead, he first bought the second building blueprint fragment of the Triumphal Arch and Book 2 and 3 of the Index of All Races. Purchasing these 3 items alone cost him 80 battlefield points, leaving him with only 9 battlefield points. My points are still not enough. Zhou looked at the green bronze tier master servant territory contract that was worth 20 battlefield points. In the end, he closed the battlefield shop interface because he was short of money. I still have to continue ranking or attacking other territories to obtain battlefield points. It's easier to obtain battlefield points through ranking now. Zhou was deep in thought. In the Lord battlefield, defeating a black iron tier lord would give him 1 battlefield point. Defeating a black iron tier lord would give him 1 battlefield point. Defeating a white silver tier lord would give him 25 battlefield points. This was only white silver tier. It could be expected that they would be able to obtain more battlefield points as long as they could win, and the ranking opponent's ranking increased. This was much more convenient than bringing tens of thousands of soldiers around to search for enemies and conquer territories before obtaining territory tokens to exchange for battlefield points. But where can I find teammates? Zhou thought. Among the lords of the Cerulean planet, he had only chatted with the military industry lord once other than Linger's deeper relationship with him. However, they were not very familiar with each other. It felt a little strange to rashly go up and ask if they wanted to rank together. At this moment, a line of golden text suddenly appeared, as if it had heard him mutter to himself. Lord Battlefield hint. Do you want to activate the recruitment ranking mode? Through randomly recruiting Lord teammates whose ranks are not more than 1 level higher within the same race or all races to form a party. I can do that. Zhou was stunned. Then, he thought for a moment and nodded slowly. That works too. This way, I won't have to spend time looking for suitable teammates. He did not immediately start the recruitment ranking. Instead, he checked his lord title and the fashion of the battlefield recruits. When Zhou Zhou advanced to the white silver tier elementary grade lord rank, both of them had also advanced to white silver tier. Among them, the bronze tier lord title was upgraded to the white silver tier lord title. Even though the name, Event Limited Fashion, Battlefield Recruit, had not changed. However, his stats had also increased. Title name, White Silver Tier Lord. Title quality, White Silver Tier, Enhanceable. Title effect 1. When fighting against the enemy forces of the Scarlet Fog, both you and your subjects will obtain an additional 10% increase in strength. Title effect 2. When fighting the lords of all races, you and your subjects will receive an additional 10% increase in strength when the other party's lord battlefield rank is lower than your lord battlefield rank. Title effect 3. Same as before. Title description, same as before. Fashion outfit name, Battlefield Recruit, Event Limited Fashion, Fashion Grade, White Silver Tier, Enhanceable, Fashion Feature 1. Reduces 20% of the damage sustained by White Silver Tier and below. Fashion Feature 2. Leave the battlefield. In the White Silver Tier Lord battlefield ranking, when your side is at a disadvantage, if you have the White Silver Tier Territory Rebirth token, the Lord has the right to choose to admit defeat and automatically withdraw from the Lord battlefield ranking. Fashion Feature 3. Same as before. Fashion Feature 4. Comfort plus 5. Current fashion outfit completeness. 5/5. Introduction. Same as before. Zhou Zhou looked at their improvement in surprise. Especially the White Silver Tier Lord. Title effect increased by 1. After this title was upgraded to the White Silver Tier, not only did it retain and increase the original title effect, it could actually obtain an increase in strength when facing Lord of all races below its level. The title of Lord can actually affect reality? Zhou Zhou immediately realized the importance of this matter. With this factor, many lords would probably work hard to break through on the Lord battlefield in the future. As for the characteristics 1, 2, and 4 of the battlefield recruit's fashion, they had also been greatly improved. After that, Zhou Zhou put on the battlefield recruit clothes and activated the recruitment ranking mode within his own race. As for randomly recruiting Lord teammates from the people of foreign races, Zhou Zhou did not have that thought for the time being. Those who are not of our race will definitely have different intentions. He would not cooperate with the people of foreign races easily. Matching with your ranking opponent. Match successful. Entering the battlefield. The next second, his vision darkened before he quickly regained his vision. Then, Zhou Zhou immediately observed his surroundings. He realized that he had appeared in an ancient, dilapidated, and incomparably vast arena. However, there was no one else in the arena other than lords like them. On the left and right sides of his city stood a city that was much smaller than Blazing Sun City. Under the powerful vision of the Chaos human bloodline, he could see 2 human lords standing on the city wall and observing him and his surroundings. At this moment, a text notification appeared. You have entered the White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade battlefield. You and your opponent have been randomly assigned to the White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade battlefield, 100 City Arena. Your teammates are 1 Cerulean Planet Human Lord, Heaven Summer Lord, White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade. 2 Cerulean Planet Human Lord, White Knight Lord, White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade. Your opponents are 1 Ice Spirit Lord, Black Ice Lord, White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade. 2 Ice Spirit Lord, Snow Orchid Lord, White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade. 3 Ice Spirit Lord, Frost Startling Lord, White Silver Tier Intermediate Grade. Condition to defeat the enemy. Kill all the enemy forces within 24 hours. If you exceed the time limit, both sides will be judged to have negative battle results. Ranking -1. You have 10 minutes to deploy your forces. Countdown, 9 minutes, 59 seconds. Chapter 181 Group Earnings. Exchanging Goods, Heaven Summer Lord and White Knight Lord. I actually encountered them. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. He often dived on the World Channel and watched others chat. Therefore, he still had some basic understanding of other famous lords. He knew these two lords. The two of them were very famous on the World Channel. It was said that each of them had a lord talent that was not inferior to Diamond Tier. While they were not as good as the Dragon Lady Lord and the Overlord Lord, they were also lords doing well in the second tier. At this moment, Big Boss Blazing Sun? Fuck, it's really you, Big Boss. We actually queued you? An excited and surprised male voice suddenly appeared in Zhou's mind. It was the White Knight Lord. Is it really Big Boss Blazing Sun? Not only was the Heaven Summer Lord a female lord, she was also a cute girl. At this moment, she was also very surprised that she was actually queued the Lord of the Blazing Sun. It's me. Everyone focus first. If you have anything to say, we can wait until we defeat the opponent in front of us.
Zhou said.
Now listen to Big Boss. The two Cerulean Planet Lords were not people who did not know the severity of the matter. Big shot. I'll bring my troops over to help you after I finish fighting on my side. White Knight said confidently. Okay. Zhou was stunned for a moment before responding with a smile. On the other side, the Heaven Summer Lord was a little speechless. Saying such things in front of the #1 human lord of the Cerulean planet? Who gave you the confidence? The three of them did not chat further and began to focus on deploying their subjects.
Soon.
Deployment time ended. The battle officially began. A moment later, Zhou dealt with the Ice Spirit Lord on his side, the Snow Orchid Lord. Then he looked at the other two human lords. In the end, he realized the Heaven Summer Lord was steadily suppressing her enemies, and the scales of victory were already leaning towards her. On the other hand, the White Knight Lord was suppressed by the other party's Black Ice Lord, and his city gate was about to be breached. Do you need my help?
Zhou asked. Yes.
The Heaven Summer Lord said hurriedly, as she was surprised that Big Boss Blazing Sun had dealt with his enemies so quickly. No need. Big Boss, I'm about to start fighting back. I'm just luring the enemy deeper now. The White Knight Lord said stubbornly. Zhou did not say anything seeing this. He directly divided his soldiers into two groups. One group went to support the Heaven Summer Lord, and the other to help the White Knight Lord. These were all ready-made promotion energy. It would be a waste not to pick them up. Joy immediately appeared on her face when the Heaven Summer Lord saw the reinforcements coming. Thank you, Big Boss Blazing Sunday. The White Knight Lord stopped being stubborn and said awkwardly, We're all from the same race. Don't say that. Zhou shook his head. The two of them nodded gratefully. At the same time, they refreshed their impressions of Zhou. A popular person had more rumors about him. Previously, they had heard many negative descriptions of the Lord of the Blazing Sun compiled by others. Cold-blooded, mercenary, and scrupulous. There were too many of these comments. It wasn't true at all from the looks of it. Big Boss Blazing Sun was clearly very good. A moment later, the remaining two Ice Spirit Lords had also been eliminated. A battlefield notification appeared. You and your teammates have defeated the Ice Spirit Lord, Black Ice Lord, Ice Spirit Lord, Snow Orchid Lord, and Ice Spirit Lord, Frost Startling Lord. You have won this ranking competition. You have obtained 75 battlefield points. Congratulations, you have advanced to the White-Silver Tier Advanced grade in the Myriad Races Lord Battlefield. You need to participate in at least one ranking competition every 3 days. Otherwise, your rank will -1. Your battlefield shop has been updated. You can return to your territory. Awesome. Zhou immediately felt comfortable when he saw the gain of 75 battlefield points. Groups were indeed much more profitable than solo games. He could only obtain 25 battlefield points at most if it was a solo match. How could he obtain so many battlefield points like now? He opened the Lord Battlefield and realized that the new product was the White Silver Tier Master Servant Territory contract. It was worth 100 battlefield points.
Fine.
It was a price he could not afford. Then, He spent 70 battlefield points to buy the green bronze tier Master Servant Territory contract and 200 designated white silver tier elementary grade military professionals. He also designated them as beginner soldier type musketeers. This way, these 200 musketeers could still use the modern firearms he had bought from the military industry lord. At this point, he still had 14 battlefield points left. He had to continue teaming up. Zhou thought to himself as he looked at the few battlefield points. Big shot? I still have 2 chances to rank. Can I form a team with you? If it doesn't work, I can pay fees. Will 20 white silver tier mist cores be enough? I only have so much. The Heaven Summer Lord asked expectantly. This feeling of being carried by a big shot was too good. It was completely different from the feeling of spending time and effort to fight her way up. At the same time, she had a feeling, clearly, this level of ranking did not give Big Boss Blazing Sun any pressure. Then how far could their number 1 lord of the Cerulean planet go? I don't want mist cores. If you're willing, I want the Master Servant Territory contract in your battlefield shop. A Master Servant Territory contract of any level can be exchanged for a duo opportunity. It'll take care of winning. If I lose, I won't take a single cent and will compensate you with 50 white silver tier mist cores.
How about that?
Zhou thought for a moment and said. He was not interested in the mist cores. However, he was still quite interested in the Master Servant Territory contract. Okay. The Heaven Summer Lord immediately agreed. She was not interested in the Master Servant Territory contract to begin with. She could exchange them for an almost 100% chance of advancing and additional battlefield points. She felt that she had made a killing. Oh right, Big Boss Blazing Sun, I have a white silver tier elementary grade lord friend. Can I bring her along? Same conditions. The Heaven Summer Lord said. Okay. Zhou naturally would not refuse. Then I'll go look for my friend now. Big Boss, please wait a moment. It won't take long. Okay.
Zhou said.
Heaven Summer Lord directly contacted her friend seeing this. Big Boss, can we add each other as friends? On the other side, the White Knight Lord hesitated for a moment and could not help but say. He did not have any more ranking tries and therefore did not mention about continuing to rank with the content of their conversation just now. Zhou did not refuse his request. They were comrades who had fought together once. So, he directly agreed to his good friend after all. When the White Knight Lord saw Zhou's good friend request, his face immediately turned red with excitement. This was a friend slot that even Dragon Lady Lord and the others had not obtained. He actually obtained it. Thank you, Big Boss Blazing Sun. Thank you, Big Boss Blazing Sun. Then I'll leave first. Big Bosses, all the best to you. The White Knight Lord left happily. Seeing this, Zhou continued to line up with the Heaven Summer Lord and her female lord friend in a group of 3. Chapter 182 Difficulty Increases. Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade Nazario Breakthrough. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. 182 Difficulty Increases. Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade Nazario Breakthrough. In the following period of time, Zhou and the Heaven Summer Lord ranked with her friend twice. They undoubtedly won all the matches. He successfully obtained 2 white silver tier Master Servant Territory contracts from them. At this moment, their rankings had also been used up. While the Heaven Summer Lord still wanted to continue ranking with Zhou, due to the restrictions, she added Zhou as a friend and thanked him before going offline. Seeing this, Zhou continued to recruit people from the same race. 3 hours later, White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade Lord Battlefield, Gust Plateau. On the city wall, Zhou looked at the battle below with a solemn expression. A white platinum tier monster with the body of a lion and sharp claws, the head and wings of an eagle, was fighting his soldiers. According to the description of the Index of All Races, Book 3, these were from a foreign race called White Platinum Tier Griffins. They had a Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Bloodline race. It was almost comparable to the bloodline of a Diamond Tier Advanced Grade Vampire Viscount. There were more than 2,000 of them, and each of them was 4 to 5 meters tall. Not only were they extremely fierce when fighting on the ground, they could also flap their wings and fly into the sky when the situation was bad. After adjusting themselves, they would swoop down and give the Blazing Sun Army soldiers below a fierce blow. The Blazing Sun Army had the advantage in numbers and could firmly occupy the upper hand on the battlefield, but the number of casualties among the soldiers was also shocking. He brought 15,000 military professionals with him. Originally, there were only a little more than 11,000 left after several lord rankings and a huge battle. The rest had all died on the battlefield. This was even after Bai Yun participated in the battle with all her might, and Wu Xian launched all kinds of military formations. The Sand Corpse summoners also kept resurrecting the corpses of the dead white platinum tier griffins into sand corpses and throwing them into the battlefield again. Otherwise, their losses would only be greater. The military professionals of his Blazing Sun Army were completely using their lives to obtain victory in this war. This white platinum tier griffin lord is so strong. As my rank increases, the strength of the enemy lord is also increasing. It's not to be underestimated. He frowned slightly. Zhou Zhou's Blazing Sun Army soldiers were not ordinary military professionals. Under the military merit exchange system, they could exchange for all kinds of skills and equipment from the monster ranch. It could be said that most of the normal skills on him could also be mastered by the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army. It was just that there was a difference between the number of skills and their level. Even so, their casualties were so heavy. It could be seen how powerful this white platinum tier griffin's lord was. He looked at his teammates on both sides. Their lords and military professionals had all died, and the city had been destroyed. It was a scene of post-war ruins. Zhou Zhou shook his head. He might not have to sacrifice so many soldiers if they could hold on a little longer. At this moment, Zhou Zhou suddenly sensed a warm energy appear out of thin air in his heart. After this energy appeared, it immediately surged into his limbs and bones, strengthening his body and soul, allowing them to strengthen greatly in a short period of time. I broke through. Zhou Zhou was stunned. Then his mood finally improved. He opened his interface information and realized that the strength class column in his attribute panel had indeed been updated to white silver tier intermediate grade. The battle was not over yet. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou first returned to his lord's residence and took out a set of white silver tier intermediate grade skills and equipment that he had long prepared from his spatial ring. He replaced all the white silver tier elementary grade skills and equipment on him. He had just returned to the battlefield. Roar! A dragon roar suddenly sounded. Nazario flew into the sky and roared in all directions. Countless fire elemental torrent that was like a huge river condensed out of thin air and surged into its body. Nazario's dragon body, which was already 25 meters tall, began to expand again. 30 meters, 35 meters, 40 meters, 45 meters. When Nazario's body reached more than 50 meters tall, its body slowly stopped expanding and finally stopped at a height of 58 meters. A text notification appeared. Congratulations, your pet, the lava dragon, has broken through to yellow gold tier elementary grade. The magma dragon breath of the lava dragon has been strengthened. The lava dragon's dragon might has been strengthened. The lava dragon has comprehended the growth type draconic spell, intermediate grade fire elemental control, from Draconic Magic Mastery. The lava dragon has comprehended the growth type draconic spell, Blazing Explosion, from Draconic Magic Mastery. The lava dragon has awakened all things burn from the inheritance of the dragons. The lava dragon has awakened Magma Explosion from the inheritance of the dragons. The lava dragon's epic tier elemental immunity and epic tier physical immunity awakening rate increased from 3% to 10%. Zhou Zhou looked at the advancement notification in surprise. The last time he saw these notifications was when Nazario advanced from green bronze tier advanced grade to white silver tier elementary grade. He did not expect to see it again. Could it be that Nazario will receive a huge increase in its ability when it advances to a higher class? Then the next time I see this notification, it should be time for Nazario to advance to the White Platinum tier elementary grade. Zhou thought. After advancing, Nazario's combat strength increased greatly. Its scarlet dragon eyes swept across the White Platinum tier coldly before releasing its dragon might. The White Platinum tier griffins that were still flying in the sky froze when they encountered the Yellow Gold tier elementary grade dragon might. Then, they fell from the sky and trembled, not daring to move. The White Platinum tier griffins on the ground had long prostrated themselves on the ground. They did not even have the courage to look at Nazario. Zhou's eyes lit up. Nazario had also used Dragon Might just now, but the effect was not as obvious as it was currently. Obviously, Nazario released the Dragon Might that even this group of powerful creatures with Diamond tier intermediate grade bloodlines could not resist after advancing. Now that Nazario has advanced to the Yellow Gold tier advanced grade, I've more confidence in conquering the White Silver tier regional territory. Zhou was quite satisfied. In the time that followed, with the help of Nazario's Dragon Might, in less than a moment, all the White Platinum tier griffins were dealt with. It allowed Zhou to successfully win this ranking competition. Every White Platinum tier lord of the White Platinum tier intermediate grade Griffin Lord contributed 125 battlefield points to him. The three of them together gave him a total of 375 battlefield points. It also allowed him to successfully advance to the White Platinum tier advanced grade. Then, Zhou asked Bai Yun to count the casualties. He opened the battlefield ranking. Cerulean Planet Human Race, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Rank, Black Iron tier elementary grade. Lord Battlefield of your race ranking. Excluded in the ranking, Cerulean Planet Human Race, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Rank, White Platinum tier advanced grade. Myriad Races Lord Battlefield ranking, 3,425,216th. Chapter 183 White Platinum tier, Advanced Grade. Intermediate Grade Soldier Type. 1. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. 183 White Platinum tier Advanced Grade. Intermediate Grade Soldier Type. 1. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Previously, his rank was in the thousands of billions. It has jumped to a little more than 3 million now. The improvement was not small. However, Zhou could already feel a certain difficulty from the ranking match. To be honest, he was quite surprised that the White Platinum tier griffins could fight him like that. This was only the ranking above 3 million. He could not imagine what kind of immortals were fighting in the top 10,000, or even the top 100. Then he looked at the top 3 lords of all races. Original Spirit Race, True Lord, Legendary tier elementary grade. Myriad Races Lord Battlefield ranking. First. Chaos Gods Race, Great One Lord Epic tier advanced grade. Myriad Races Lord Battlefield ranking. Second. Shepherd's God Race, Heaven Chasing Lord, Epic tier advanced grade. Myriad Races Lord Battlefield ranking. Third. Zhou raised his eyebrows. The top 2 did not change much. However, the third place went from the original Extreme Dragon Race, Extreme Venerable Lord, to the current Heaven Chasing Lord. He scrolled downwards and quickly discovered Extreme Dragon Race, Extreme Venerable Lord on the 7th spot. A competition between immortal lords. Zhou sighed. However, he did not think too much about it. These big shots were a little far from him after all. Then he looked at the upgrade of his title and clothes. Title name, White Platinum tier Lord. Title quality, White Platinum tier, enhanceable. Title effect 1. When fighting against the enemy forces of the Scarlet Fog, you and your subjects will receive an additional 20% increase in strength. Title effect 2. When fighting the lords of all races, you and your subjects will receive an additional 5% increase in strength when the other party's Lord Battlefield rank is lower than your Lord Battlefield rank. You and your subjects will receive an additional 10% increase in strength when the other party's Lord Battlefield is White Silver tier. You and your subjects will obtain an additional 15% increase in strength when the other party's lord battlefield is green bronze tier. When the other party's lord battlefield is black iron tier, you and your subjects will receive an additional 20% increase in strength. Title Effect 3. Same as before. Title Description. Same as before. Fashion Outfit Name. Battlefield Recruit. Event Limited Fashion. Fashion Grade. White Platinum Tier. Enhanceable. Fashion Feature 1. Reduces 20% of damage White Platinum Tier and below to the wearer. Fashion Feature 2. Leave the battlefield. In the White Silver Tier Lord Battlefield ranking, when your side is at a disadvantage, if you have the White Silver Tier Territory Rebirth token, the Lord has the right to choose to admit defeat and automatically withdraw from the Lord Battlefield ranking. Fashion Feature 3. Same as before. Fashion Feature 4. Comfort plus 10. Current Fashion Outfit Completeness. 5/5. Introduction. Same as before. My good Lord. This Lord title suppresses the lower the rank of the Lord. Once a high-level Lord faces a low-level Lord, if a low-level Lord doesn't have any special methods, they won't be able to fight back. Zhou clicked his tongue. He did not expect the title of Lord to undergo such a change. However, on second thought, in a way, the difference in strength between the two sides was obvious. Once lords of different levels fought, it would probably be a crushing battle between high-level lords and low-level lords even without the increase in strength of this title. Then, other than increasing the advantage against the Scarlet Lord, the function of this title is to prevent ants from biting elephants to death. At the thought of this, Zhou suddenly felt that this title was quite suitable for him. Many people had already formed the Lord Alliance among the lords of the Cerulean planet after all. And he was still alone. In the future, if he had a conflict with the Lord Alliance, it would definitely be a many-on-one situation. At that time, this title would bring him a huge advantage in group battles. Then, Zhou thought for a moment and opened the marketplace to set up a transaction. The transaction was as follows. Trade name, deal with the Blazing Sun Lord. Trade goods, 50 million black iron tier mist cores. Trade requirement, for every resurrection token/territory rebirth token/master servant territory contract. Trade 1, 250/1, 250/1000 mist cores, black iron/green bronze/white silver/yellow gold/white platinum tier. The setup was completed, and he published the transaction.
Soon.
This transaction was pushed to the top of the number of transaction views with his reputation. Many lords on the World Channel were shocked by his wealth after seeing his deal. After Zhou announced the transaction, he also roughly looked through the marketplace. He realized that many lords in the marketplace had already announced the same deal as him. Dragon Lady Lord, Dragon God Lord, Insect Lord, and Overlord Lord were among them. However, their prices were far lower than his. It seems that everyone can see the importance of these things. Zhou was not surprised. There was naturally no need to mention the Resurrection token and the Territory Rebirth token. They were important tools for whether the lords could last longer on the Lord battlefield. The Master Servant Territory contract was different. It seemed to be useless, but Zhou valued it the most among the three. Because on the surface, it was only a tool that could allow the Lord to have a subordinate territory which did not seem to be anything special. Chapter 184, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Intermediate Grade Soldier Type. 2. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. 184 White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Intermediate Grade Soldier Type. 2. However, if one understood it carefully, they would discover how cheat-like it was. Especially the existence of the Spatial Teleportation Array. If a lord had a large number of Master Servant Territory contracts, he could completely use these Master Servant Territory contracts to build a teleportation network that could connect to all parts of the High Continent. This could even be used to form a true Lord Alliance. This Lord Alliance would not be the kind that was established on the World Channel. It was difficult for an alliance to even support each other in reality. The Lord Alliance was created by a large number of master-servant territory contracts. It was a Lord Alliance that could really help and exchange benefits. This was a treasure that any lord who had the ambition to develop the Lord Alliance could not miss. Even though Zhou Zhou had yet to form his Lord Alliance, it didn't mean he wouldn't in the future. In addition, the spatial teleportation array itself was extremely valuable. That was why he spent so much money to buy these master-servant territory contracts at this stage. A moment later, Bai Yun quickly walked in front of Zhou Zhou. Reporting to my lord, we lost a total of 4,852 military professionals in today's Lord War. There are also 3,454 people who have sustained injuries of varying severity, she said respectfully. Her eyes were slightly red. This was the first time she had seen the Blazing Sun army suffer such heavy casualties. Don't be sad. They'll all survive. Zhou Zhou comforted her. Then he took out a white platinum tier resurrection token. Treasure name, resurrection token. Treasure grade, white platinum tier. Treasure effect, use it to revive the 10,000 designated subjects who died on the white platinum tier Lord battlefield. Current resurrection slot, 0/10,000. Treasure description, a treasure exclusive to the Lord battlefield. It can revive the dead subjects to fight for the Lord again. Prompt, the higher the level of life of the bloodline, the more resurrection spots there will be. Revive all my subjects who died on the Lord's battlefield, Zhou Zhou thought to himself. The next second, the revival slot immediately changed from 0/10,000 to 6/124/10,000. Zhou Zhou was not surprised. Many of his soldiers were green bronze tier, or even white silver tier subjects after all. Resurrecting people with their strength definitely needed to occupy more resurrection spots. At the same time, on the battlefield, the corpses of all the dead soldiers quickly disappeared. Bits of white light gathered into a ball and quickly condensed the bodies, equipment, and other items of the dead soldiers. They looked around blankly. Then, they recalled what the lords had told them before the war. I'm resurrected. I've really revived. Is this the Lord's method? Unbelievable. Exclamations, excitement, and laughter sounded. The originally depressed atmosphere on the battlefield immediately became cheerful as the soldiers were revived. When Bai Yun and Zhou Zhou saw this, smiles appeared on their faces. A large number of notifications of increased loyalty appeared on Zhou Zhou's side. Zhou Zhou had no choice but to block them all because there were too many of them. He looked at the revived soldiers on the battlefield and could not help but smile. Then, Zhou Zhou solemnly put away the resurrection token. Since the resurrection slot for this resurrection token had not been used up, there was still the possibility of it continuing to automatically level up as his level increased. This was what he could rely on to revive the soldiers in the future. He could not be careless. After that, Zhou Zhou did not stay any longer and returned to Blazing Sun City with all the soldiers. In the Blazing Sun City, on the city wall, let all the injured soldiers stay in the city to recuperate. Provide the biological prosthesis for free to the comrades with broken limbs. Well, pay for everything. As for the other soldiers who can still fight, let them rest for an hour. Then, we'll leave the territory and conquer the white silver tier regional territory in the Blackrock Desert. Zhou Zhou said in a low voice. Aren't we going to continue the Lord War? Bai Yun was stunned for a moment before asking. I won't continue for the time being until my strength increases further. Zhou Zhou shook his head. Nazario might have advanced to the yellow gold tier elementary grade, allowing his strength to increase exponentially. The battlefield was not a 1v1. No matter how strong Nazario was, there was a possibility that they would be killed by a siege. In addition, he felt that his soldiers were already feeling some pressure on the Lord battlefield. Forcefully attacking the Lord battlefield would just be a waste of the resurrection spots in his resurrection token. Since that was the case, he might as well increase his strength in reality first before going to the Lord battlefield to show off his skills. This way, not only could he maintain his win rate, he could also minimize his own casualties. "Yes, my lord," Bai Yun said respectfully. Then, she turned around to give her orders. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou opened the Lord Battlefield function and looked at his battlefield interface. Title: Lord of the Blazing Sun. Echelon: White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Number of rankings: 10 battlefield points, 6,839, close to 7,000 battlefield points. I should be able to buy something good this time, right? A smile appeared on Zhou Zhou's face. Then, he opened the battlefield shop. 1. Cerulean Planet Human Race Building, Triumphal Arch Architecture Blueprint Fragment for 7s. Remaining purchases: 1. Price: 3,000 battlefield points. 2. Cerulean Planet Human Race Building, Triumphal Arch Blueprint Fragment 3/7. Remaining purchases: 1. Price: 1,000 battlefield points. 3. Index of All Races Book 4. Remaining purchases: 1. Price: 25 battlefield points. 3. Index of All Races Book 5. Remaining purchases: 1. Price: 25 battlefield points. 9. 1 white. Silver Tier Master Servant Territory Contract. Remaining purchases: 1. Price: 100 battlefield points. 10. 1 Yellow Gold Tier Master Servant Territory Contract. Remaining purchases: 1. Price: 500 battlefield points. 11. 1 White Platinum Tier Master Servant Territory Contract. Remaining purchases: 1. Price: 2,000 battlefield points. Other than the above, an option to exchange for intermediate grade soldier types appeared. Zhou Zhou had seen intermediate grade combat class, Sand Corpse Summoners before. However, this was the first time he had seen an intermediate grade combat soldier type. After clicking on the details, he realized that there were a total of 4 intermediate grade soldier types. They were Wind Cavalrymen, Heavy Earth Shield Soldiers, Star Musketeers, Water Crossbow Soldiers. They correspond to the intermediate grade classes of cavalrymen, shield soldiers, musketeers, and crossbowmen. However, their prices were also very high. The price of 100 white silver tier intermediate grade soldier type class was 500 battlefield points. The price of 100 black iron tier intermediate grade soldier type professions was 100 battlefield points. Zhou Zhou looked at the exaggerated prices of them and other goods and could not help but open his mouth wide. In the end, he could not help but sigh helplessly. He had indeed gained a lot of battlefield points. However, the price of the new goods in the battlefield shop had also increased. Zhou Zhou shook his head. Then, he obediently chose to exchange the 3rd and 4th blueprint fragments of the Triumphal Arch, the 4th and 5th volumes of the Index of All Races. These alone cost him 4,600 battlefield points. Then, Zhou Zhou spent another 2,200 battlefield points to buy 400 white silver tier intermediate grade combat professions and 200 black iron tier intermediate grade combat professions. Every intermediate grade soldier type had 150 people. At this point, his battlefield points had returned to 39 points. It was not too much to say that he had gone back to the starting point. Let's wait until we obtain more battlefield points in the next ranking for the remaining intermediate grade soldiers and the Master Servant Territory contract. Zhou Zhou shook his head. While he could immediately enter the Lord Battlefield again and obtain more battlefield points, the price would definitely be more casualties. Zhou Zhou naturally would not do such a stupid thing. In any case, these goods would not run away in the Lord Battlefield. It didn't matter if he exchanged for them earlier or later. After that, he did not stay any longer. He led the 600 beginner soldier types to meet up with the Blazing Sun army. He then gathered the army and left Blazing Sun City, rushing towards the White Silver Tier Regional Territory, Withered Forest Plains. Chapter 185 Undead Knight. New Intermediate Grade Soldier Type. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. 185 Undead Knight. New Intermediate Grade Soldier Type. White Silver Tier Region Territory, Withered Forest Plains. Tap, 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 tap. The orderly and heavy sound of marching came from afar. Soon, a group of more than 10,000 human soldiers marched over. The man in the lead was Zhou Zhou, sitting on a white silver-tier elementary-grade mechanostrider. He looked at his surroundings as he led his troops towards the Scarlet Lord. Unlike the blazing sun desert, the withered forest plains was not a desert terrain, but a plain with dry yellow land. On this seemingly lifeless plain, withered trees could often be seen growing on the ground. They might already be dead, but everyone had a strange feeling that they were still alive when they looked at these withered trees. Zhou Zhou narrowed his eyes at the withered trees. His powerful sixth sense as a chaos human made him feel that these trees were spying on him.
Stop. Zhou Zhou suddenly said.
Stop. Wuxia shouted. Rumble. A total of 15,000 soldiers suddenly stood on the spot under the effect of the hero's skill, desired military morale. They quickly organized their formation and looked around vigilantly. It completely explained what it meant to obey orders. My lord, did you discover anything? Bai Yun and Wuxia came over and asked. Zhou Zhou said nothing. Instead, he took out the map of the withered forest plains and looked at it. As a white silver-tier regional territory, its area spanned more than 2,900 square kilometers. On this land, there were a total of 11 Scarlet Lord territories. Among them were 2 Scarlet Lords with white silver-tier territory, 4 Scarlet Lords with green bronze-tier territory, and 5 Scarlet Lords with black iron-tier territory. There were also 2 foreign race lord territories and 1 native village of the Aurora Kingdom. Zhou Zhou's gaze landed on the territory of the regional Scarlet Lord, Withered Demon Tree. It was one of the 2 Scarlet Lords with white silver-tier territory. Withered Demon Tree. He pondered for a few seconds before his eyes suddenly revealed a determined expression. Pass down my orders. All the withered trees in sight will be cut down wherever the army passes. Nothing must be left behind. Zhou Zhou said in a low voice. Wuxia and Bai Yun were stunned, but they did not ask further and directly conveyed their lord's orders to the soldiers.
Soon,
dense cutting sounds could be heard. These withered trees were easily cut down with the cooperation of the soldiers. The moment they were cut down, many soldiers heard a hoarse roar coming from the depths of the tree trunk, startling them. What was that sound? You scared me? What strange things. No wonder the Lord asked us to cut them down. I felt that these trees were a little scary when I came. There's indeed a problem. The soldiers immediately understood the reason why Zhou Zhou gave such an order. They immediately started cutting even harder. Could these withered trees be related to the Lord of the Withered Demon Tree? Wuxia also guessed something and could not help but raise his eyebrows. Bai Yun also looked around warily. I keep feeling that these trees are spying on us. If that's the case, then cut them all down and be done with it. Zhou Zhou nodded and said calmly. He believed that his sixth senses as a chaos human would not be wrong. In the time that followed, Zhou Zhou and the others rushed towards the territory of the Scarlet Lord closest to them as they cut down the trees. Their progress was a little slower because they were cutting trees, but everyone felt much more at ease when they saw the journey without the withered trees. A moment later, in the territory of a white silver-tier Scarlet Lord, the Undead Night Lord, Zhou Zhou stood beside the mechanostrider and looked at the scene in the distance. A group of undead knights riding undead warhorses with dark blue flames flickering in their eyes and wearing undead armor were patrolling their territory. There were not many of them, only about 3,000. However, they were very strong. Zhou Zhou looked over. He realized that there was not a single black iron-tier undead knight among them. The lowest level was a green bronze-tier undead knight. Other than that, there were also many white silver-tier undead knights among them. He even discovered a few yellow gold-tier undead knights. They all emitted a cold aura that made living beings shrink back. My good lord, they are a little strong. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue. Fortunately, his Nazario had also broken through to the yellow gold tier. Otherwise, he would definitely hesitate and decide to go back and accumulate another wave of strength before coming over when he saw this lineup. Then, Zhou found a green bronze tier elementary grade undead knight and looked at its details. Monster name, Undead Knight. Strength level, green bronze tier elementary grade. Monster description, a monster from the withered forest plains. It was once a member of the Aurora Kingdom's Aurora Cavalry Legion. Later, it died on this land because it came here to carry out a combat quests. It was modified into an undead knight by an extraordinary tier lich. Loot's drop rate, 2 green bronze tier mist cores drop rate, 100%, 1 gradeless skill book, Swordsmanship drop rate, 20%, 1 green bronze tier elementary grade equipment, Aurora Spear drop rate, 10%, 1 green bronze tier elementary grade skill book, Aurora Spear Technique drop rate, 2%, for gradeless Aurora Cavalry class change certificate drop rate, 0, 1%, 1 green bronze tier elementary grade, Aurora Cavalry recruitment books, drop rate, 0, 1%. Zhou was stunned. Then he was overjoyed. New soldier type class change certificates and soldier type recruitment books appeared. Moreover, looking at the name of this soldier type class, it should not be an ordinary class change certificate. We can use the monster ranch to protect this monster. Zhou was pleasantly surprised. However, he was surprised. This group of undead knights actually did not drop the class change certificate and recruitment books of the undead knights. Instead, they dropped the class change certificate and class recruitment books from when they were alive. Was it because what he had when he was alive was more important than what he had after death? Or was it for another reason? Zhou thought for a long time, but could not think of a reason. He could not be bothered to think too much about it. Elder Wu, do you know the Aurora Cavalry Legion? Zhou asked Wuxia. Aurora Cavalry Legions? I do. There's a group of intermediate grade soldiers there, Aurora Cavalry. They're one of the important armies of the Aurora Kingdom. I've been there before. After that, I made a contribution and was promoted to a high-level soldier type, the Aurora Cavalry. I only left that place. Wuxia was stunned for a moment before saying reminiscently, these undead knights were from the Aurora Cavalry Legion when they were alive. It was transformed into this by an extraordinary tier lich passing by after their deaths. Zhou said. Wuxia was stunned. Then, when he looked at the undead knights again, his eyes were immediately stunned. My lord, let's send them on their way, Wuxia said with a complicated tone after a few seconds of silence. Chapter 186 Undead Knight Boss, Meredith. Yellow gold tier Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. 186 Undead Knight Boss, Meredith. Yellow gold tier Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere. As a former Aurora Knight, Wuxia could not bear to see them, who were also Aurora Knights, suffer such humiliation. Emichum. By Yun, Elder Wu, Maris. There's no time to lose. Start the offensive. Zhou did not say anything else and ordered in a low voice.
Yes.
All melee soldiers, charge with me, Wuxia said angrily. Then he clamped his legs together and was the first to rush out. Behind him were more than 7,000 sword shield soldiers and Pudeo soldiers. There were also some spearmen, cavalrymen, and the New Wind cavalrymen, and heavy earth shield soldiers that they had obtained today. They roared and rushed towards the undead knights. These undead knights also discovered the group of human soldiers rushing up. It was unknown who let out the first roar. The next second, more than 3,000 undead knights rushed towards Wuxia and the others and quickly fought them. Even though there were only more than 3,000 of them, their powerful strength, outstanding soldier types, and advantage of their race made their combat strength extremely high. They were not afraid of Wuxia and the others at all. On Zhou's end, Wuxia and the others had the numerical advantage and the enhancement of the military formation. Their strength increased greatly. The two sides fought a tough battle. In the end, the Blazing Sun army had the advantage in numbers and military formations. They began to surround and destroy the undead knights. At the same time, behind the battlefield. All long-range soldier types. Follow me to support our soldiers from afar and kill these undead knights. Seeing that the time was ripe, Bai Yun also rode on a white silver-tier elementary grade mechanostrider and ordered the remaining 7,000 poison crossbowmen, elemental archers, some bowmen, crossbowmen, musketeers, as well as the newly recruited star musketeers and water crossbowmen to attack the undead knights. Yes! All the long-range soldiers roared angrily. Then they drew their bows and shot at these undead knights. The other musketeers who had obtained pistols, rifles, submachine guns, and heavy machine guns also aimed at these undead knights and began to shoot. As for the newly recruited star musketeers and water crossbowmen, they surprised Zhou. These two intermediate-grade soldier types, the star musketeers condensed fire elemental energy in their muskets and erupted with bullet attacks that were not inferior to modern guns. The water crossbowmen controlled the water elemental energy in the crowd control and condensed water elemental arrows. They fired at these undead knights with high accuracy. Their lethality was not inferior to the power of the modern firearms bought by the Star Musketeers and Zhou. Under a wave of attacks from all the long-range soldier types, more than 400 of these 3,000 undead knights immediately died on the spot. Bai Yun and the others drew their bows and shot again. This time, they directly eliminated more than 600 undead knights. Just 2 waves of attacks, and there were only 2/3 of the 3,000 undead knights left. The remaining undead knights also decreased rapidly under the charge of the military professionals led by Wuxia. Zhou nodded to himself. He could tell that the soldiers' combat strength had clearly increased greatly when facing these undead knights. This should be the effect of the White Platinum Tier Lord Title Effect 1. Title Effect 1. When fighting against the enemy forces of the Scarlet Fog, you and your subjects will receive an additional 20% increase in strength. Then he opened the details of the 4 intermediate-grade soldier types. Subject: Zhongqing. Territory: Blazing Sun City. Soldier type class name: Wind Cavalryman. Profession class: White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. Ability overview: He was forced to wander because of the war when he was young. Later, he accidentally picked up a Wind Cavalryman class change certificate and successfully changed his profession to a Wind Cavalryman. He has now become a soldier of Blazing Sun City. Skills: White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Wind Riding Technique. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Wind Spear Technique. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Phantom Wind Spear. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Summoning Wind Spirit Horse. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Wind Spear Blade. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Wind Run Technique. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Wind Blade Technique. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Wind Blade Technique. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Summoning Gust. Loyalty: 81. Potential: Yellow Gold Tier Intermediate Grade. Subject: Ludahai. Territory: Blazing Sun City. Soldier type class name: Heavy Earth Shield Soldiers. Profession class: White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. Ability overview: The rich Lu Dahai has been pampered since he was young and was fat. His father specially asked him to come to the army to train in order to lose weight. His figure was admired by his superiors. Not only did they not let him lose weight, they also let him change his profession to become a Heavy Earth Shield Soldier to protect the safety of the Guardian soldiers. Skills: White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Heavy Earth Shield Technique. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Taunt. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Double Gravity. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Agility. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Shield Strike. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Dance Shield Technique. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Earth Shield. White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Shield Repair Technique. Loyalty: 84. Potential: Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. Subject: Zhaogang. Territory: Blazing Sun City. Soldier type class name: Star Musketeer. Profession class: White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. Ability overview: Zhao Gang, who had received a good patriotic education since he was young, was determined to step onto the battlefield and create a peaceful world. After joining the army, his commander sensed his marksmanship talent and asked him to change his profession to a star musketeer. Skills, talent, double reaction speed, white platinum tier elementary grade starfire meditation technique, white silver tier elementary grade aiming, white silver tier elementary grade mobile marksmanship, white silver tier elementary grade fixed marksmanship, white silver tier elementary grade rapid marksmanship, white silver tier elementary grade white silver tier elementary grade fire elemental manipulation, white silver tier elementary grade starfire bullet, white silver tier elementary grade invisibility technique, loyalty, 84, potential, yellow gold tier advanced grade, subject, Zhao Gang, territory, Blazing Sun City, soldier type class name, Star Musketeer, profession class, white silver tier elementary grade, ability overview, Zhao Gang, who had received a good patriotic education since he was young, was determined to step onto the battlefield and create a peaceful world. After joining the army, his commander sensed his marksmanship talent and asked him to change his profession to a star musketeer. Skills, talent, double reaction speed, white platinum tier elementary grade starfire meditation technique, white silver tier elementary grade aiming, white silver tier elementary grade mobile marksmanship, white silver tier elementary grade fixed marksmanship, white silver tier elementary grade rapid marksmanship, white silver tier elementary grade fire elemental control, white silver tier elementary starfire bullet, white silver tier elementary grade flame bomb, loyalty, 84, potential, yellow gold tier advanced grade, subject, Lin Chao, territory, Blazing Sun City, soldier type class name, water crossbowman, profession class, white silver tier elementary grade, ability overview, originally an apprentice of the Magic Academy. Later, the Magic Academy was destroyed by the people of foreign races. In order to avenge his classmates and teachers, he joined the human army and finally became a water crossbowman, eliminating his former enemies. Skills: white platinum tier elementary blue river meditation technique, white silver tier elementary grade aiming, white silver tier elementary grade shooting mobile targets, white silver tier elementary grade shooting fixed targets, white silver tier elementary grade crossbow shooting, white silver tier elementary grade water elemental control, white silver tier elementary water arrow skill, white silver tier elementary grade water spear technique, loyalty, 89, potential, white silver tier, advanced grade. The intermediate grade soldier types seem to involve the control of elemental energy. Zhou looked at their messages and pondered. At this moment, the undead knights on the battlefield suddenly became restless. Zhou looked up. The next second, an undead knight twice the size of other undead knights walked out of the lord's residence. He held a 6-meter-tall knight spear in his left hand and led a 3-meter-tall skeletal warhorse in his right hand. It looked cold, indifferent, and restrained. Zhou looked at it. A monster notification appeared. Monster name: Undead Knight Boss, Meredith, Scarlet Lord. Strength level: yellow gold tier advanced grade. Monster description: one of the Scarlet Lords of the Withered Forest Plains. His strength is second only to the boss of the Withered Demon Tree, Wu Li. He was the captain of the 4th Battalion of the 1st Cavalryman Legion when he was alive. Later, he failed to carry out a combat quest. His soul is trapped here forever because he was unwilling to die. In the end, he was transformed into an undead knight by a passing extraordinary tier lich. Later, he was modified by the Scarlet Fog, and his strength increased again. Loot's drop rate: 20 yellow gold tier mist cores drop rate, 100%. 2 origin crystals drop rate, 100%. 1 gradeless skill book, writing skill, drop rate, 20%. 1 yellow gold tier advanced grade skill book, Aurora Spear skill, drop rate, 15%. 1 yellow gold tier advanced grade equipment, Soul Devouring Spear, drop rate, 10%. 1 yellow gold tier advanced grade skill book, soul-shattering roar, drop rate, 5%. 20 gradeless yellow gold tier advanced grade Aurora Cavalry class change. Certificate drop rate, 0.1%. 1 yellow gold tier Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere, drop rate, 0%. 6 yellow gold tier Scarlet Lord Talent Fragments, drop rate, 0%. Chapter 187 White Platinum Tier Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Soldier Type are if audio player doesn't work. Press stop then play button again. 187 White Platinum Tier Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Soldier Type Recruitment Books, Yellow Gold Tier Lord Talent. Zhou immediately became excited when he saw the loots. He did not expect that the first Scarlet Lord he encountered today would be a Scarlet Lord with the Lord Talent. Nazario, take him down, he immediately ordered.
Whoosh.
After Nazario heard the order, it spread its dragon wings and flew into the sky towards the boss of the Undead Knights. When it was about 40 to 50 meters above the boss of the Undead Knights, it suddenly stopped. Roar. Nazario roared angrily. Terrifying dragon might instantly poured out of its body and quickly swept across a radius of several kilometers. The boss of the Undead Knights, Meredith, had just mounted his horse and was raising the soul-devouring spear in his hand, wanting to stab Nazario. In the end, this dragon might immediately froze his body and made him unable to move. Seeing this, Nazario flew high into the air and opened its dragon mouth. Bits of blazing golden flames condensed in its mouth. It quickly formed a blazing golden ball of light and suddenly aimed at the boss of the Undead Knights below. The blazing golden ball of light in its mouth instantly shot out with a blazing golden pillar of fire. The growth-type draconic spell, Blazing Explosion.
Boom.
It was as if a pillar of divine punishment had descended from the sky. The immobile boss of the Undead Knights, Meredith, was directly bathed in the ultimate move that Nazario had just comprehended. 3 to 4 seconds later. Your pet lava dragon, Nazario has killed the boss of the Undead Knights, Meredith, Scarlet Lord. Promotion energy plus 8,000. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. Your pet Nazario has received an additional 32,000 promotion energy. Zhou nodded slightly. The yellow gold tier elementary grade Nazario and the yellow gold tier advanced grade boss of the Undead Knights, Meredith. It sounded like there was a huge difference in strength. However, the huge advantage of the race bloodline and the enhancement of the white platinum tier lord directly flattened or even crushed this difference. The current Nazario could even fight the white platinum tier advanced grade Scarlet Lord. Not to mention a yellow gold tier advanced grade Scarlet Lord. Nazario, who had killed the Scarlet Lord, did not seem to be satisfied yet. It looked at the other Undead Knights. At this moment, there were only a little more than 1,000 Undead Knights left under the joint attack of Bai Yun and Wuxia. Facing a more obvious numerical advantage, it was obvious that the remaining Undead Knights were clearly unable to withstand it. The scales of victory on the battlefield were completely leaning towards the Blazing Sun army. Seeing this scene, Nazario flew into the sky and looked coldly at the remaining Undead Knights with its scarlet dragon eyes. With a low dragon roar, lava dragon race talent skill, all things burn. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Wisps of flames suddenly rose everywhere on the battlefield. Wuxia had just pierced through the head of a yellow gold tier elementary grade elite undead knight when 5 more white silver tier advanced grade undead knights rushed over. He was about to swing his spear to counterattack. In the end, he was stunned to see that cracks that emitted flames suddenly appeared on the bodies of these 5 white silver tier advanced grade undead knights. The crack quickly expanded, and wisps of flames appeared from the crack. Then, they quickly covered the entire bodies of the undead knights, turning them into fire knights burning with flames in the blink of an eye. He watched helplessly as these 5 white silver tier advanced grade undead knights were burned to death in front of him. In the end, the flames seemed to have a consciousness and quietly extinguished themselves when they were only left with charred remains. Wuxian looked elsewhere on the battlefield, and he realized that the undead knights elsewhere were also wrapped in flames and fell powerlessly. More than 30 seconds later, almost all of the 1,000 undead knights were burned to death. They turned into a large number of charred corpses. Only 3 to 5 undead knights remained under Zhou Zhou's mental control, but they had already been captured. Dragon Race, Wuxian sighed with mixed emotions. This power was already comparable to, or even surpassed heroes of the same level. The most ridiculous thing was that Nazario was not even a hero yet. If one day, Nazario had obtained an opportunity to become a dragon hero, he could only imagine how much Nazario's combat strength would increase. Is it really impossible to close the gap between the advantage of race and talent? He shook his head. Wuxian stopped thinking about it and gathered the soldiers to clean up the battlefield. Behind the battlefield, Zhou Zhou could not help but click his tongue when he saw Nazario kill everyone with one dragon. He had seen its skills. He knew that this was the racial skill. All things burn. The current Nazario is really equivalent to an army, Zhou Zhou lamented. A moment later, Nazario flew over with the corpse of the undead knight's boss and placed it in front of Zhou Zhou. Wuxian also walked over. He looked at the corpse in silence. Elder Zhao, there's no need to feel sad. He's freed. Zhou Zhou comforted him. I was not like this when I was young. I'm old and have become sentimental. My lord is right. This is the best outcome for him. Wuxian smiled and sighed. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Then he looked at the corpse. At this moment, most of its heat had been taken away by Nazario. Zhou Zhou only felt a faint warmth when he tried touching it. He no longer hesitated. He placed his hand on it and extracted the loots. Lord Talent Notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots. Perfect loots. Grade +1. Lord Talent Notification. You have obtained perfect loots, 20 white platinum tier mist cores, 2 origin crystals, 1 gradeless skill book, writing skill, 1 white platinum tier advanced grade skill book, Aurora Spear skill, 1 white platinum tier advanced grade equipment, Soul Devouring Spear, 1 white platinum tier advanced grade skill book, Soul Shattering Roar, 20 gradeless white platinum tier Aurora Cavalry class change certificate, 1 white platinum tier Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere, 6 white platinum tier Lord Talent Fragments. A smile appeared on Zhou Zhou's face. Yellow gold tier turned into white platinum tier. This was the first time he had a white platinum tier Lord Talent. Then he began to check the other loots. There was naturally no need to mention the Mist Core and Origin Crystal. After Zhou Zhou put them away, he looked at the other loots. Skill name, Swordsmanship, skill quality, gradeless, skill description. After learning it, you can master the skill of riding creatures. Skill name, Aurora Spear Technique, skill quality, white platinum tier advanced grade, skill description. After learning it, you can master the secret spear technique of the Aurora Cavalry Legion, Aurora Spear Technique. You will become a spearman with 5 years of EXP. Equipment name, Soul Devouring Spear, equipment grade, white platinum tier advanced grade, equipment effect, Soul Devouring Deathmatch. When the user uses the Soul Devouring Spear to fight, he can absorb the souls of the enemies who died in battle into the spear, thereby restoring the user's physical strength, mental strength, and internal energy. Skill name, Soul Shattering Roar, skill quality, white platinum tier advanced grade, skill description. The user let out a roar that can shatter the enemy's soul. The stronger the user's soul, the stronger the power of the soul-shattering roar used. It has a fatal effect on life forms with weak souls. Item name, Aurora Cavalry Class Change Certificate. Item level, gradeless. Item effect, intermediate grade soldier type class change tool. After using it, you can become an intermediate grade soldier type class, Aurora Cavalry. You will also have a set of black iron tier elementary grade equipment, 5 years of actual combat experience as an Aurora Cavalry, and the initial strength of a black iron tier elementary grade. Item description, Intermediate Grade Soldier Class Change Certificate. It comes from the Aurora Kingdom and is a low-level soldier type class of the Aurora Cavalry. Item name: Aurora Cavalry Recruitment Books. Item level: White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Item effect: Intermediate Grade Soldier Type Recruitment Books. Throw them into the Gate of Summoning, and you can summon a Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Cavalry with White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade potential to become your subject. Item description: one of the sources of the Myriad Realm Lord's forces. Only the lucky among the lords can obtain it. A. Aurora Cavalry with White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade potential. Zhou was delighted. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade potential. This was already considered one of the top potential of the human race. Elder Zhao had this potential when he first joined him. In the beginning, the soldier type potential I obtained was only at the Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade. Now, I can already obtain human soldiers with high potentials. His eyes were shining. Obviously, the mythical tier talent, the King of Lutes, was playing an increasingly astonishing role as the strength of his territory continued to increase. Right now, he could obtain recruitment books for soldiers with White Platinum Tier potential. In the future, he might be able to obtain recruitment books for extraordinary tier soldiers like Elder Zheng and Elder Wu. Chapter 188: Deadwood Village. Quest: Withered Seed. He could learn horsemanship directly, and could also learn the other skills from the loots dropped by the low-level undead knights, other than the fact that the level of soul-shattering roar was too high for him to learn. In terms of equipment, the White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Soul-Devouring Spear surprised Zhou. There was no other reason. The effect of this spear was too useful. The person who had it could fight on the battlefield for a long time and maintain his peak state by constantly killing the enemy and restoring his state. The only pity was that this equipment's level was too high. It could only be used after he advanced to the White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. However, he was not in a hurry. When he first obtained the Sandman Scepter, his strength level was also low and he could not use it. Wasn't it also usable now? He would just take it slow. In any case, Zhou wasn't going to lose this equipment, so he stopped thinking about it. He took out the Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Conqueror's Blast Furnace and asked the soldiers to retrieve the loot from the corpses of the other undead knights. During this period, Zhou also entered the Lord's residence of the undead knight's boss and obtained the White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Territory Token. I can upgrade my territory when I get back. Zhou looked at the White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Territory Token and smiled. More than 15 minutes later, all the loot from the undead knights' corpses were extracted. Under the enhancement of the perfect loots, in total he obtained 17,584 White Silver Tier Mist Cores, 3,528 Yellow Gold Tier Mist Cores, 36 White Platinum Tier Mist Cores, 3,021 Gradeless Horsemanship Skill Books, 3,021 Aurora Spear Technique Skill Books, White Silver Tier, Yellow Gold Tier, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade, White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade, 3,021 Aurora Spears, White Silver Tier, Yellow Gold Tier, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade, White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade, 28,741 Aurora Cavalry Class Change Certificates, 3,026 Aurora Cavalry Recruitment Books. Zhou nodded in satisfaction when he saw these gains. Other than the White Platinum Tier Mist Cores that brought him immense joy, these 3,026 Aurora Cavalry Recruitment Books could directly increase his strength by more than 3,000 intermediate grade military professionals. They might only be at Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade at the beginning, but now he had the White Silver Tier Lord talent. Blessing of the 10 Gods, the Blessing of War. These intermediate grade soldiers would definitely grow very quickly. They would become the top military professionals under Zhou before long. At this moment, Bai Yun walked over. Reporting to my lord. We just cleaned up the battlefield. A total of 2 million units of basic materials, 3 white platinum tier mist cores, 12 yellow gold tier mist cores, 214 white silver tier mist cores, 1,452 green bronze tier mist cores, and 14,424 black iron tier mist cores. Apart from that, we also found a batch of normal building blueprints and more than 3,000 sets of old-fashioned equipment for the Aurora Knights. I've checked the equipment. Most of them are damaged and only a few dozen are barely usable. Bai Yun said respectfully. Bring them all back. Zhou nodded. He felt a little emotional. The white silver tier Scarlet Territory Lord was indeed different. The loots other than those from the corpses were also so abundant. It was completely different from the green bronze tier and black iron tier Scarlet Lord territories that he had conquered in the past. Yes, Bai Yun said respectfully. A moment later, the Blazing Sun army packed up all the loots and brought them to the Mechanostrider convoy. Under Zhou's lead, they headed to the next destination closest to them, Deadwood Forest. On a desolate path, Zhou sat on the Mechanostrider and looked at the map in his hand. The closest destination to them was the Aurora Kingdom's native village, the Deadwood Village. According to the information on the map, this Deadwood Village was not very strong. There was not even a territory token in their territory. All the buildings were built by them. It was said that they came here to escape the war. They originally wanted to settle down temporarily and find a new place to settle down in the future. In the end, they were trapped here as food by the withered demon tree for more than 10 years. Zhou was a little puzzled after reading it. Weird. Logically speaking, they should have been killed by the withered demon trees after being trapped for so long. How could they last until now? He thought for a moment, but couldn't come up with an answer, so he stopped thinking about it. He would know when he arrived. A moment later, Deadwood Village. Zhou had just arrived with the army. In the end, he accidentally realized that there was not even a withered tree nearby. At this moment, he saw a little boy squatting on the ground as if doing something. Bai Yun, Elder Wu, follow me. Zhou looked at the boy for 2 seconds and asked Bai Yun and Wu Xian to follow him to the little boy after confirming that there was nothing wrong with him. Little kid, what's your name? What are you doing? Why are you so focused? Zhou squatted in front of him and asked curiously. My name is Zhuang. I'm planting trees. Zhuang pointed at a withered seed in the soil in front of him and said seriously. Planting trees? Zhou and the other two were stunned. This seed was clearly dead. How could it grow trees? My grandfather said before, our lives will definitely change drastically when we can see green trees. I don't know what the change is, but Grandpa seems to want to see it. So, I want to give it a try. By the way, who are you? Where did you come from? Why have I never seen you before? After saying that, the little boy realized that they were a group of strangers and asked blankly. We're from outside. Zhou was stunned for 2 seconds before nodding. Outside? Are there green trees outside? The little boy was stunned. Then, his eyes lit up with anticipation. Yes, Zhou said. The little boy was stunned for 2 seconds before quickly standing up. Then can you take me to take a look? By the way, I can also give you a small stone. You adults seem to like this. Then, he took out a black iron tier mist core and handed it to Zhou. Then, he looked at him expectantly. Bai Yun and Wu Xian looked at the black iron tier mist core in Zhou's hand with strange expressions. Zhou did not know whether to laugh or cry. He was the #1 human lord on the Cerulean planet after all. This boy wanted him to do something with just a black iron tier mist core? At this moment, lines of text appeared. Zhuang has issued a quest to you. Quest name, Withered Seed. Quality of quests, gradeless, normal. Quest content. The little boy, Zhuang's grandfather, is already old. He knows that his lifespan is coming to an end. He wants to see the green tree he saw when he was young before he dies. Zhuang happened to know his grandfather's wish, but he is unable to fulfill it. Can you help him fulfill his grandfather's wish? Mission reward, 1 black iron tier mist core and Zhuang's friendship. Zhou Zhou looked at the mission that suddenly appeared in front of him. Gradeless, normal. Zhou Zhou sighed. This was the lowest level quest he had ever seen. At the same time, Zhuang saw that Zhou Zhou did not take the Black Iron Tier Mist Core for a long time. In addition, Bai Yun and Wu Xian had faint smiles on their faces. For some reason, his young heart felt ashamed inexplicably. Sorry to disturb you. Zhuang held back his tears and was about to take back the Black Iron Tier Mist Core. Zhou Zhou's voice sounded. Leave this small stone for me. I like your payment very much. Don't worry. I will bring the thing you want to you, he said seriously. Zhuang was stunned and suddenly felt unprecedentedly happy. Zhou Zhou smiled. He naturally did not care about remuneration. However, the little boy's innocence, kindness, and filial piety were very rare. This made it impossible for him to refuse this quest. After that, Zhou Zhou asked Zhuang to bring them to the village. Chapter 189 White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade Quest. Deadwood Village. Zhou Zhou and the other three entered the village without any obstruction. There were very few of them, only about 100 people in this village. Every one of their faces was haggard and hungry. When they saw Zhou Zhou and the others arrive, they immediately walked out to look at them. Their eyes were filled with anticipation, pity, fear, nervousness, and many other emotions. Zhou Zhou had prepared some words, but he immediately fell silent seeing the scene. Just as they were halfway there, a sallow old man walked over shakily with the help of a tall and thin young man. Grandpa. They seemed to have something to say to Grandpa. They didn't look like bad people, so I brought them here, Zhuang said and glanced at Zhou Zhou. Zhuang's grandfather smiled bitterly. Then, he retracted his expression and looked at Zhou Zhou and the others before bowing respectfully. Welcome to Deadwood Village, my lords. I'm Zhu Li, the village chief here. The village is simple. I've embarrassed myself. You're too kind, Elder One. So you're Zhuang's grandfather. He's a filial child. Zhou Zhou smiled.
Zhuang blushed.
Zhuang is indeed very filial. But I'm not his biological grandfather. I'm his god-grandfather. All the children in the village called me that. Zhu Li smiled. The three of you can follow me into the hall and take a seat. Let us entertain you too. After saying that, he made an inviting gesture with a trembling hand. Zhou Zhou and the other two looked at each other and nodded. A moment later, in the hall, this is the morning dew water we collected this morning. Even though it's not very sweet, it's still considered clean. If you don't mind, please drink it. Zhu Li looked at Zhou Zhou and the others and smiled kindly. Zhou Zhou looked at the clear dew in the broken bowl in his hand. The item information quickly appeared. It was indeed dew water. Then, he looked at the villagers with extremely eager eyes and nodded. Then, he drank the bowl of dew in one gulp. It was very cooling and was able to quench his thirst even though it did not have any sweetness to it. Zhu Li smiled when he saw this. After that, they chatted for a while before Zhou Zhou raised his doubts. Village chief, why isn't there a single deadwood tree around your deadwood village? Were they all cut down? How would we dare to slash the branch of the Scarlet Lord? The Scarlet Lord retracted them itself. Zhu Li's expression turned bitter. Zhou Zhou and the others were stunned. Before he could take the initiative to ask questions, the young man standing beside Zhu Li took the initiative to explain. It was 11 years ago when we first came here. At that time, there were more than 3,000 of us. However, when we first arrived, we were trapped here by the withered demon tree. We were helpless and could only be raised here as food. In just 2 years, our original population of more than 3,000 fell to more than 1,000. We thought we were all going to die here, but then a group of Aurora Knights and a Lich arrived here. In order to protect us, those Aurora Knights negotiated with the Lich so that we can establish ourselves here and not be injured by the withered tree demon Scarlet Lord. The only thing that restricts us is that we can't escape from this withered forest. That's because the Scarlet Lord is only willing to give us an area to survive. Beyond this area, it will still treat us as food. That's how it was. We have maintained our food until now by collecting dew and some seeds. During this period, we lost some more villagers on and off. Some of them starved to death. Some encountered and were killed by the fog monsters here while collecting food. Some wanted to escape and were killed by the withered demon tree. That's how it's been. We're only left with these 100 villagers. As for the Aurora Cavalry, by the time we see them again, they are completely different people. However, they didn't attack us when they saw us. Until 5 years ago, they took the initiative to attack us when we saw them again. We don't know why. The villager was a little puzzled.
Zhou did not say anything.
They should have been transformed into undead knights after the Aurora cavalrymen negotiated with the Lich. At that moment, they still had a certain level of self-awareness and could control themselves from killing after seeing the Aurora Kingdom humans. Then, they completely lost their consciousness after they were completely transformed into fog monsters by the Scarlet Fog. That was why they attacked the people of Deadwood Village. Thinking of this, Zhou could not help but sigh. At the same time, he felt a sense of respect for the undead knights before they were turned into fog monsters. To be honest, my lord, I led the army here this time to conquer this land. The Scarlet Lord of the withered demon tree you're facing is one of our goals,
Zhou said.
Zhu Li and the villagers beside him were stunned. If my lord can deal with the boss of the withered demon tree, everyone in our Deadwood village is willing to join you, my lord.
Zhu Li stood up and said.
As soon as he finished speaking, a text notification appeared. Deadwood Village Chief, Zhu Li has issued a quest to you. Quest name, Hope and Counterattack. Quality of quest, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade, Normal. Quest content, the villagers of the Deadwood Village have been trapped in the Deadwood Forest for 11 years by the Lord of the Withered Demon Tree. During this period, every villager they lost added aggro to their hearts. Your sudden visit gave them hope for revenge. Destroy the boss of the Withered Demon Tree and avenge their dead villagers. Mission reward, 10 White Platinum Tier Mist Cores and the loyalty of 136 subjects of Deadwood Village. All loyalty has reached 95 points. Zhou raised his eyebrows. A White Platinum Tier quest. He took it without hesitation. Leave it to us. Today, we will fight the Withered Demon Tree Scarlet Lord. If it goes well, you will know the outcome before the Scarlet Fog descends tonight. Zhou said. Then I'll leave it to you, my lord. Zhu Li said happily. By the way, my lord, be careful of the dead wood by the roadside and the seeds underground. They look very ordinary, but they're actually the claws and teeth of the Scarlet Lord of the Withered Demon Tree. Not only can they monitor you, but they can also take the initiative to attack. If you're not careful, it's easy to get hurt. The villager beside Zhu Li thought of something and said hurriedly. Thank you very much. Well, take note. Zhou was a little surprised. He did not expect that other than the withered trees by the roadside, there were actually methods hidden underground by the boss of the Withered Demon Tree. If these were the methods of the Scarlet Lord of the Withered Demon Tree, then the entire withered forest plains was probably under its surveillance. After that, they did not stay any longer and returned to the Blazing Sun Army. Chapter 190 Different Loots. Withered Tree Demon Lord. There's no hurry. There are so many tentacles of the enemy in this land. Same old rules. Let's clear the little monsters first before clearing the last enemy. Zhou shook his head. Bai Yun nodded. After this period of interaction, she gradually understood the meaning of some of the hometown language of the Lord. After that, they walked towards the next territory of the Scarlet Lord. After walking for 4 to 5 kilometers, Zhou frowned because he felt the surveillance feeling on his back again. Previously, this feeling came from other withered trees. Now that a large number of withered trees had been cut down, this feeling came from underground. It's the seeds underground that give me a sense of them spying. Zhou was deep in thought. Then he quickly thought of a solution. Zhou did not let Nazario descend and use all things burn on them. This was because even though this could resolve these seeds underground in a short period of time, it might also attract more enemies. Zhou did not want to be disturbed by other enemies when he cleared the little monsters. He looked at Bai Yun and asked her to use the hero skill, Silent March, to travel. After Bai Yun received the order, she immediately used his hero skill, Silent March. The next second, the 15,000 military professionals following behind Zhou suddenly changed from a noisy army to a silent army. At the same time, Zhou immediately realized that the sense of surveillance had disappeared. It really works. The corners of Zhou's mouth curled up when he realized this. He had only asked Bai Yun to use the hero skill, Silent March, to give it a try. He did not expect it to really succeed. It seems that these branches of the withered demon tree can only determine our location through movements and sounds and know what we're doing. Once the hero skill, Silent March, is activated, all the sounds and traces will instantly disappear. The withered demon tree won't be able to sense our location, even with divination. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Actually, if these withered trees had eyes, they would still be easily seen even if they used the hero skill, Silent March. This was because hero skill, Silent March, could only hide the movements and traces left behind during the march. It could also prevent the enemy from discovering them through divination to a certain extent. They could not become invisible. However, it was perfect to deal with the eyeless branches of the withered demon tree. After that, they marched boldly towards the Scarlet Lord's territory closest to them. In the next 4 hours, Zhou led the soldiers to eliminate the other 4 Scarlet Lords who had green bronze tier territories, 5 Scarlet Lords who had black iron tier territories, and 2 foreign races. Under the effect of the perfect loots, he obtained a total of 87,157 green bronze tier mist cores, 28,847 white silver tier mist cores, 1,715 yellow gold tier mist cores, 62 green bronze tier Lord Talent crystal fragments, 24,154 pieces of equipment, green bronze tier, white silver tier, yellow gold tier, 18,451 skill books, green bronze tier, white silver tier, yellow gold tier. There were also 1 white silver tier territory token, 6 green bronze tier territory token, 5 black iron tier territory tokens, 21 rankings tries, 60 battlefield points, 1 silver tier territory token for 25 points, 6 bronze tier territory token for 35 points, and 5 black iron tier territory token for 5 points, 2 bottles of extraordinary tier potential advancement potion. As for the 2 lords of foreign races, they were both normal lords. They and their subjects were races without racial talent or bloodline. This made Zhou's plan to try his luck and obtain some race bloodlines to increase the level of the chaos human race's bloodline fail. It seemed that it was indeed not easy to encounter a lord of all races who could drop bloodlines. At this moment, only the withered forest plains Scarlet Lord was left. Zhou and the others headed straight for the other party's territory. More than 15 minutes later, in the territory of the withered tree demon. My good lord, is this the withered tree demon? A white silver tier elementary grade mechanostrider was hovering in the sky. It was too different from the black iron tier advanced grade mechanostrider. The first was wings. The wings of the white silver tier elementary grade mechanostrider were about 8 meters long. The wings of the black iron tier advanced grade mechanostrider were only half a meter long. It could not fly at all. The second difference was the driving position of both sides. The rider of a black iron tier advanced grade mechanostrider could only ride on its back. As for the white silver tier elementary grade mechanostrider, not only did it have an exclusive seat on its back, moreover, it had its own cockpit. The pilot could directly sit in the cockpit and pilot this white silver tier elementary grade mechanostrider to travel on the ground or fly high in the sky. The driving experience was countless times better than the Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Mechanostrider. Zhou was sitting in the Mechanostrider's cockpit, looking at the scene below with his mouth agape. On the ground, an extremely large area of purple trees were connected. The vines were connected to the surrounding trees and tied them tightly together. Zhou looked at one of them. A text notification appeared. Monster name, Withered Tree. Strength level, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Monster description, a subject under the strongest Scarlet Lord in the Withered Forest Plains. It was transformed from a branch split from the Withered Tree Demon's main body. Loot's drop rate, 2 Black Iron Tier Mist Cores drop rate, 100%, 1 kg Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Jade Sun Tree Seed drop rate, 20%, 1 Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Tree Core Gem drop rate, 1%, 1 Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Plant Vitality Potion drop rate, 1%, Tree Seed, Tree Core Gem, Plant Vitality Potion? Zhou was a little surprised. He had never heard of these materials. Moreover, they were clearly not normal items. Then he looked at the other higher-level withered trees. He realized that the loots dropped were the same. It was just an increase in grades. In the middle of them, there was an extremely tall dark purple tree. It was more than 50 meters tall, 4 to 5 times the size of the surrounding trees. Zhou looked at it. A text notification appeared. Monster name, Withered Tree Demon Lord, Wu Li, Regional Scarlet Lord. Strength level, Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. Monster description, the strongest Scarlet Lord in the Withered Forest Plains. It controls the entire Withered Forest Plains and has the ability to create the Withered Tree as its own subject. Loot's drop rate, 50 Yellow Gold Tier Mist Cores drop rate, 100%, 5 Origin Crystals drop rate, 100%, 1,000 kilograms Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Jade Sun Tree Seed drop rate, 20%, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Tree Gem drop rate, 1%, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Yellow Gold Advanced Grade Plant Vitality Potion drop rate, 1%, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book Vitality Absorption drop rate, 1%, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book Plant Domain drop rate, 5%, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Alchemy Pharmacist Recruitment Book, drop rate 1%, 9 Black Iron Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.